We're making a lot of progress as a lineage. Foundational Black Americans are making progress, are pushing the needle forward, culturally and politically speaking. And because we're doing that, the dominant society, of course, they're going to promote people who are against this movement, the antagonizers. They're going to promote them. They're going to push them. They're going to have them try to sabotage us by demonizing us and slandering us, making us seem like a group that works for MAGA and all of these lies. But we're going to debunk that to keep the lineage moving forward.
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. Your host, Afro Elite. All right. Appreciate y'all watching. But let me say something before we get started. I want to say something to you guys. You all, what you need to do before y'all hit that like button, actually, you can hit the like button right now. But before you do that, let me let y'all know this right now. Y'all want to go get some popcorn. Y'all might want to go get some pretzels. Y'all might want to, whatever snack y'all like to munch on and chew on and all of that stuff, whatever your favorite little drink is, whatever the case is, y'all might want to get that because we're going to be here for a good minute this evening. My last couple live streams have been a little bit shorter than usual. But tonight, I'm going to let you know something. We got time. So I'm not going to rush anything. We're going to slow roast this like some good FBA barbecue. We going to be here for a minute because there's a lot of misinformation that we got to dispel. I've been saying a whole lot of stuff and the rabbit hole goes kind of deep. You came from TikTok. Thank you. Came from TikTok. I was just on TikTok live. Shout out to the TikTok family. All right. We're glad to see them in the building. Now, before we do any of that, what you already know what we do, we got to play the copyright disclaimer to make sure to the platform that everything we play thus forth is protected under the guise of fair use. So as we're doing that, what I would appreciate for you all to do is hit that like button, and we'll be right back. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Ooh, here we go. I'm doing a Birdman hand rub. Here we go. All right. First thing I've noticed, and this is what I was talking about on TikTok. Speaking of TikTok, I've noticed there's been some clips that are trying to get foundational Black Americans to have this mass exodus towards Africa, back, quote unquote, back, quote unquote, back to Africa. We got to have this mass exodus to Africa. So I've been seeing this stuff and I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about this. And then we're going to break down why. It's a lot we got to discuss. So we're going to break this down real quick. All right. So this video comes up. All right. A little bit long, but we're not going to play the whole thing. Just going to get the gist of it.
Black America. Ethiopian here with a message for you. This is going to be about as important of a message as any. And I hope that you lend me an ear. I understand that we have our differences. I understand the grievances that we have as a people from Africa and a people in America. I want to ask you to look past that for 1 second and just hear me out. Right off the bat, I want to acknowledge one thing. For those of you who consider yourself indigenous.
First off, before he even goes, I'm going to say, and I'm pretty sure he's trying to be taken as serious as possible, but this is already coming off like one of those apology videos. You know how when they do the apology videos, you know how they have the camera in front and was all like, I'm sorry for the offensive things that I have said. It has hurt me deeply. I am so deeply apologetic, and I regret every single day for the things that I have said in the past. Those were my younger years, and I was less mature. That's the vibe that I'm getting from this. I'm getting that energy. When I first saw him, I'm like, is he gonna apologize or something? That's kind of what I was thinking. But that no, he's not gonna do that. But I just couldn't help but say that.
To America, I want you to know that I respect you. I respect your heritage, your history, and your claim. And I also understand that you will never leave America. You would rather fight and die for this land.
Okay, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Okay, he already understands that we would never leave America and we would fight and die. You would think the conversation would end there, but it doesn't.
And that is commendable. And it is your prerogative. My message to all of you melanated people, my people, is this. Consider a mass exodus to Africa. Hear me out. Before you skip the video, just lend me an ear. Allow me to explain. In this country, for over 600 years, you have been held captive in your own land by a people who refuse to acknowledge your humanity. A people who refuse to accept you as equals. While today they hold $138 trillion in net worth, you have 5.9. I tell you what, though, that is still a hell of an accomplishment. With that in mind, I also understand, and you also understand, the only way to get equality and your land back in America is civil war. Because politically, it's never going to happen. Here's my thing. What if I told you the greatest way to defeat colonialism in America is not with your blood, but with your absence? What if I told you that you have an alternative to civil war? What if I told you that alternative is Africa? Hear me out. Your community is worth $5.9 trillion. If you today decided to band together under one accord as a black people in America and decided to conduct a mass exodus to Africa, let me show you what you can build for yourself with just a fraction of your wealth. Here's what 14 billion African dollars can build in Africa. Keep in mind, your net worth is 5.9 trillion USD. This is what 14 billion African dollars can build.
Just over 60 kilometers south of Nairobi, on the way to the port city of Mombasa, sits the site of Kenya's newest smart city, Konza Technopolis. The vision of the Kenyan government is to build a broader city from scratch to bring research, universities, industry, and government together. The city will be modeled.
And you know what? We don't even need to hear no more of that, because we already got the gist. The gist is you want us to build Africa. Okay? Notice how he frames it. Notice he doesn't frame it like, hey, y'all, we could use y'all help. Notice he don't frame it that way. Okay, notice the whole y'all been oppressed and all of this stuff. Then he starts going into how much money we got, okay? Going into the money we got. And then be all like, hey, man, that money would do a lot of good over here. First off, you wouldn't be able to build whatever is in this video. You wouldn't be able to build that overnight. If we all, let's put this in the most logical way possible. If we all got on a bunch of different planes, millions of us got on a bunch of different planes, flew to any country in Africa, how long where would we go while this is even being built? If we said, yes, that's a great idea. That's what we want. That's what we're going to do. Let's go to Africa and get that done. How long would we not live there before that exists? How will we take our wealth here and put it to this in the first place? We would have to build that first, right? Wouldn't we have to build this first before we move there? We're moving to nothing and then talk about we can build something. Okay. No. That's kind of starting from scratch, but you just want us to help you out. That's what that is. That's this whole starting from scratch thing. No, we're not doing that. Why don't you talk to your other Ethiopian people, or I think he said he was from Ethiopia, right? Why don't you talk to your other Ethiopian people, be all like, hey, y'all, let's come back home and let's get this stuff together home. You not doing that. You remember he opened the video talking about some Black America. We've been, and when he specified, because I want you to understand in another video, because he was getting drugged, in another video, he was sitting up there like, I wasn't talking about Black America. No, you were, because you said Black America. First thing you said. Second thing is you said we've been on this land oppressed for a certain amount of time. That's only been us. So you're referring to us. You want us to build Africa. You want us to build a Wakanda for you. No, we cool. We good. We good. It's a little that's that marketing though. It's a little deceptive. It's a little deceptive marketing. How you're trying to come in like, brother, you know, you don't have to go through this colonialism. You don't have to go through this. You don't have to go through this. There's another way. You don't want a civil war, do you? There's another way. So if you just go build some houses in Africa, I think that, you know, I mean, this for you, not me. Not me. I don't even care about, just forget me. I don't care about myself. I'm caring about you. So if you just go like kind of with your money, because y'all got a lot of money, if you just take that money and you build my homeland up, you know what I'm saying? That'd be good for you. It wouldn't even, I'm not even thinking about myself. I don't care about myself. I'm caring about you. Okay. No. We kind of see through that plot right there. We see through that. No, we fine. I'm fine. But y'all, he's not the only one. He's not the only one. I'm pulling these videos up individually because I don't want this to lag, because we got a lot to discuss. Y'all. So I don't want this to lag. So I got to pull these up like kind of individually, but it's okay. Like I said, we're going to be here for a little bit. Then we got this guy. Okay.
It's this running joke in Black American culture.
All right, hold on.
It's this running joke in Black American culture. It's probably in others, I'm not sure, but nonetheless, the idea that if like a giant snake enters your home, or your home gets like infested with rats or something like that, that you just be like, fuck it, you can have it. I ain't even about to go back and forth with you. It's your house now. I'm gone. I want to ask Black Americans, why don't we treat America like that? I thought it was interesting because I ran across this tweet after I did like 12 hours of research. Nobody's going to pay me for it. But as you can see, my girl Born Into Soul said, why would Black Americans move to Africa? That's like telling Jamaicans to move out of Jamaica. Black Americans have been living in America for centuries upon centuries. This is our country. Our ancestors' blood is in this land. We are not going to run when things get tough. We're going to stay and fight like we always do. While keeping in mind, yes, I'm aware all Black people aren't from Africa. We've been traced back to the indigenous people of this land. I'm having a different conversation right now. Please don't jump me. I agree with her. I'm originally from Compton, California. I take pride in saying that. I'm as American as anybody else born here, and I know what our ancestors had to go through in order for me to say that. However, But hear me out on first things first. Our ancestors did not choose to be enslaved. Some eccentric Europeans chose that for them. So
let me stop this right quick. And we do have a thing of in the Black community where, like, if we see videos of foreign countries and stuff like that, and you might see a giant snake in America, we don't be having snake issues where snakes be like falling out the ceiling and stuff like that. We don't have that issue in America. We don't have spiders like the size of your hands like they do in Australia and other places. So we'll say stuff like, man, if I ever saw that, I'd burn the whole house down. I'd leave the house. You got it. Yeah, that's a joke. That's a joke. I've never heard a single FBA in my entire life that said, you know, I just moved into this really nice neighborhood. I saved up. I bought a house, but it's gone now. There was some spiders, man. Burned it down. It's gone. That's a joke. We don't have that. We joke about that. It's funny because we know we would never do that. We know we would never do that. If we had some spiders, if we had some snakes, if we had whatever the case is, we gonna get rid of them. We the type of people who would joke like, man, if I saw a big snake, I'd leave the house. Yeah, you leave the house, but you're coming back and getting rid of the snake. We the type of people who be all like, man, this snake don't pay no bills in this house. The snake didn't pay this mortgage this month, okay? The snake don't pay no water bill. The snake don't pay no gas bill, the light bill, okay? The snake don't be cutting this grass when the grass get, the snake ain't put no food in the refrigerator. This ain't the snake house. This my house. That's how we would say about it. If there was a real big anaconda or something like that in the house, I don't know what we got to do, but the snake don't pay no bills in this. We say that to our kids. You think we letting a snake get us out the house? Some spiders get us out the house? Man, hell no. No. These little spiders don't pay no bills. No, you don't pay no bills up in here. Look, if we have a spider, hey, I'll save a couple of y'all in case we get some ants or something like that. We might cut a deal. We might cut a deal with the spiders. Be all like, look, I got some ants. They the ants be coming in the kitchen through the back door or something like that. If y'all hook me up, I'll let y'all stay. But I'm only gonna let a few of y'all. See, that's what we do. Now we might make that, but depends, because sometimes spiders. It depends on what the spider look like. It honestly it do, because some spiders just too scary to live in a house. I'm sorry, it's just too. Some of those spiders, those like real foreign spiders that be having different designs in them and stuff. No. See, with FBA, and I don't want to digress too far off the topic, but with FBA, when it comes to spiders, we have a spectrum of the tolerance we have when it comes to spiders. I don't know how I'm talking about spiders, but we talking about spiders. We have a spectrum when it comes to spiders, okay? We see certain spiders, like the common house spider, we can be all like, okay, we might kill it if it's in the way. We don't want to see it or whatever the case is. But when we see a spider that's not familiar, oh, that's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem. When we see spiders that got like different colors and stuff like that to it, different design, oh no. We don't do that. Like if it's a small little house spider that you see everywhere or whatever the case is, okay, it's a spider. We might even pick it up and put it outside. Oh, you go outside, little spider. If that spider got any type of design, any type of color, it's gotta go. We don't be playing with that. If that spider got a little bit of hair, if it looked like a tarantula a little bit, it's gotta go. Okay? If the spider is too big, it's gotta go. We really don't. We really not like that. Okay. Just went on a little rant about spiders, but we all understand it because we know our culture. All right. Let's get to the video.
Every drop of blood spilled is a war crime against humanity and not a measure of our perseverance.
Let me take it back a little bit.
I take pride in saying that I'm as American as anybody else born here, and I know what our ancestors had to go through in order for me to say that. However, but hear me out on first things first. Our ancestors did not choose to be enslaved. Some eccentric Europeans chose that for them. So every drop of blood spilled is a war crime against humanity and not a measure of our perseverance. Secondly,
no, okay. Every drop of blood spilled is a war crime against humanity and not a drop of perseverance. That's not fully true. It is a war crime. Every drop spilled, because we were captured, we were enslaved. Okay, so it is a war crime. I agree with that part, but it does reflect our perseverance, because most people, given the conditions that our ancestors had to go through, most people wouldn't have been able to even survive that. Most people wouldn't have been able to build anything with those type of conditions. So it does reflect the perseverance of our ancestors. It is still a war crime, don't get me wrong, which is why we need reparations for it, but it does reflect perseverance. So he's incorrect at that part.
This little thing right here was legal for 246 years. For 246 motherfucking earth years, they legally traded, exploited, enslaved, tortured black people. If this ain't enough fighting, I don't need to see another goddamn fight. And then after the country had to go through a literal fucking war to ask people to stop enslaving other people, they said, all right, bet. We're just gonna do diet slavery for a little while. Then after 12 years of diet slavery, Some motherfucker named Jim come along and say, okay, fine, they don't want to be enslaved no more. Let's just oppress them for the next 100 years, since they want to cry and shit. So aside from any systematic racism or subjective racism that you can actually prove, there are 346 legally documented years of slavery and or oppression. There were 346 legal motherfucking human years worth of slavery and or oppression. They say, oh, y'all complaining. Y'all been free. That was so long. 59. We've been legally free 59 years. My grandma like 80 Did the math just in case you don't feel like it. That's 85%. From 1619 to right now, America's shooting 85% from the motherfucking field on us. She can't be stopped. Imagine if you had a government that supported you for 346 years. Shit, 46 years. Liberia, which derives from the word liberty, was founded in 1822 by the American Colonization Society. It is right. Go find the nigga. At this point in time, there's only about 1.7, 1.8 million black people in America. Unfortunately, only around 230,000 of them were free, so Liberia wasn't even an option for everybody. Of course, with over 1 million people still in bondage, you run the risk of leaving a family member on a plantation in another continent and never seeing them again. These were newly freed black people who had just fought for their right to be free, so all of them didn't love the idea of relinquishing that immediately, as well as a lack of resources.
Now, let me stop this real quick. And say, notice how in both of the videos, they both go through, you guys have been subjugated and oppressed and dehumanized. You guys had to go through slavery. You guys had to go through black code. You guys had to go through Jim Crow, or we, because he says he's FBA. So for the sake of the argument, we're going to take his word for it. This video, the other guy, he admitted he's not. But in this video, we've gone through this, we've gone through this, we've gone through this, we've gone through this. They're trying to tell us this so we can have a disconnection with this country. That's the idea of giving us this long rap sheet about all of the bad things America has done to us and America continues to do to us, is to have us be looking at America side-eye, kind of like I don't want to be here at all. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't look at America side eye. We should. That's why we getting our reparations. Okay, I'm not saying to forget any of that stuff, but the intent of all of that stuff, I would fully agree if the intent of what he was saying is like, we've been through slavery, black codes, Jim Crow, all convict leasing, redlining, all of this. This is why we need our reparations. I couldn't disagree. I wouldn't be disagreeing, okay? But notice he's saying that not for us to take back what's ours here. He's saying that so we can have some disconnection or disdain for the whole country and then bounce. That's why he's saying that, all right? So we're going to play a little bit more because his whole this thing is like what's like it's like 10 minutes or something like that. We're not going to play the whole 10 minutes though, but we're going to play a little bit more and I'm going to get to the super chats and I appreciate y'all. All right.
Liberia only became a reality for around 13 to 15,000 families. Joseph Jenkins Roberts, who was the first president of Liberia, was born in 1846 in Norfolk, Virginia. He was on FUBU way before niggas had it in their closet. Joseph Jenkins created FUBU. I know what you're thinking. So what, Rich? All 42 million of us need to migrate to Liberia? Wrong. Some of you niggas are coons. You not coming. Matter of fact, if we even see our country name on your ticket, you getting arrested at the airport. You're not even making it out of America. First thing I thought about was country size. 42 million black Americans, coons aside, that's like 35 million, give or take. Black people don't like traffic and like to get to things quickly. Check. Then I thought about region and weather. Some of y'all don't like to be hot. Some of y'all don't like to be cold. Some of y'all gonna have to learn to shut the fuck up. It's Africa. And I thought about how migrating 35 million people anywhere will probably be an issue, so I wanted to make sure I found the country without a lot of people and check. And I wanted to go study this country's engagement with Pan-Africanism because I'm aware that some African nations have a disdain towards black Americans, which we have no earthly clue as to fucking why. Coastal positioning on the African continent for a country by the sea? Check. English-speaking nation, democratic government, strong anti-corruption laws? Check. Independent from you.
So essentially, just like the brother before, just like the other dude before. Essentially, what he's saying is we want to go to a place that's damn near vacant. Okay, because if we were to even entertain the conversation of a mass exodus to any country in Africa, millions of people at one point in time, at one single time, okay, or even through the course of a couple of years or so, going to a country that's already populated, it would be overpopulated. So in the video, he said, okay, I'm looking for a place that pretty much don't have nobody. So what you're saying is you're looking for some type of bland, open land where nothing really, because there's no economy if there's nobody there. So just like the other dude, we're going to have to go and start from scratch and build up some type of country. There might be a little something there, a small little economy. It's not enough. It's not nearly going to be big enough to accommodate, even if we took not 40, even if we took half, let's say we took like 21 million, whatever country he's saying is the economy would have to be existing prior to, but the country's population can't be so big to where we would overfill it. So we would have to go to a small economy that would be able to accommodate 21 million Black Americans. That's not even possible. That's not possible. Listen, unless your agenda is for us to go there and build it up. That's the thing. And notice how they keep talking about, yeah, all of the stuff y'all been through, the slavery and the Jim Crow and the this and the that and this and the that. Why don't y'all come over to Africa and there's a lot of stuff y'all can do here? No. This is y'all plan for us to go over there and build up your land. And even if we're going to say he's FBA or whatever the case is, dude, why don't you move? Ain't nobody stopping you. All of the people, and this is the thing, all of the people sitting up there talking about we should all go to Africa. We should all go back. We should all, even if you're not going back, we should all have a mass exodus to Africa. And we should live there. And the air is better. Everybody who talks about it make it seem like it's Wakanda. The air is better, and the water tastes better, and the food is healthier, and the sun just shines on your skin and makes you great. Oh, what part of Africa do you live in? Oh, well, right now I'm in Oakland, but you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that we should all go to Liberia. How long you lived in Oakland? Oh, I came here like 3 years ago, but yeah, I'm saying you should go to Liberia. You know, I'm just going to stay in Oakland, but you know, I'm suffering here in America. I really am. Boo-hoo me. But I'm just saying you would do great in Liberia. You should definitely go. No. I think we see past that. Yeah, we should go. Where y'all living? Well, right now, I'm just building up my business in Cleveland. But after that, I'm going back. Okay. Let me know when you go back then. How about that? Y'all be coming over here trying to spend as many years. Y'all be send up there passing your green card. Y'all got a damn travel visa. Y'all be skipping past your visas and all that stuff. Your green card been expired. Y'all be trying to have babies, get married to anybody you see. That's why a whole bunch of fat white women got non-FBA wives. Come on now, let's tell the truth. Y'all, what's that one TV show? I think it's Love is Blind or Love at First Sight. One of those TV shows, those dating TV shows, where a whole bunch of obese white women be going to Africa and be getting some buff Nigerian to marry. I love you, baby. And they be giving a buff Nigerian to marry to go to America. The second he get to America, she ain't seen this nigga. The second he get to America, he gone. She don't know where he at. Second, he get a little bit of resources, a little bit of money in his pocket. You know, I need my own debit card. The second he get that, he's gone. We've been seeing that now. Let's not lie about nothing. And then he'll get on YouTube and be all like, if you guys go back to Liberia, it is so great. Dude, your wife is looking for you, man. Don't make me snitch. Because I'm going to either call your wife or ICE. You better be quiet. Come on now. Oh, 90 Day Fiance. That's the show. See, yeah, that's the show. 90 Day Fiance. Okay, let me get to some of these let me get to some of these super chats. Okay. Let me see. Dead Blaze Johnson, appreciate you. He says, Afro Elite, my dude, honor, respect, nothing but love. B1 family, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, brother. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. FBA Queen says, I appreciate your work in Chicago. That's what she meant, Chicago. And the B1 Nation. Love from Austin, new neighborhood, Chicago. Shout out to Austin. I love Austin. Shout out to Austin and the people from there. And then we have from downtown says, had a debate with a chick on Instagram the other day about, quote, we need to come back to Africa. Okay. It says, I checked her page and she was living in Chicago. They ain't they, come on now. Y'all all be over here. Come on, y'all be over here trying to preach about, no, I'm trying to tell you, my homeland is great. It's the most beautiful place in the world. Somebody says, oh, really? Is that an ICE agent? Be like, where? ICE. Oh, don't. Oh, what are we doing? Y'all be hiding under decks and in the closet and stuff like that. Y'all be popping the trunk of your car and sleeping in there to avoid ICE. Talking about how great your homeland is. Okay, all right. If seeing is believing, we don't believe you. How about that? We just don't believe you. We don't believe you. No, we don't. So he's doing that. But you got other people. Now, since we have so much pride in this land, it's a little bit contagious to a degree. If I could say that, it's kind of contagious, right? So when I tell you we got tethers trying to be us, and I do mean they trying to be us, they are trying. If we could, because of our pride here, because of the fact that we're not fleers, because of the fact that we ain't going nowhere, we got other people trying to be us. That's what we got. Look.
So mad that
boy, I don't know if y'all seen this video. Just brace yourselves. That's all I got to say. Just brace yourselves.
I'm so mad that mother just said that Haitians will never be Black Americans. The United States made their first census in 1790 because so many Haitian people were fleeing there from the Haitian and French Revolution, where they were colonized because they were taken from their homelands in France and Haiti and taken to France. And so when the revolution popped off, they came to the United States. And that, with the influx of refugees, is what the United States used to make their census. So Haitian people are the only Black Americans, the original Black Americans of the United States, who formed their census in 1790. The United States admits that when they enacted the Bureau of 1865, entitled, they want you to think it's called the Freedmen's Bureau. It's called the Bureau of Refugees. Freedmen and abandoned lands. Refugees. Haitians are the only and the first Black Americans.
Okay. Let me see. All right then. Y'all, can somebody call the asylum and tell them we found they missing patient? I don't even mean. Can somebody call the asylum and tell them I know where their missing patient is? We found them and they need to come. They need to come with all of the medicine that she's been skipping out on. Can somebody say that? Because at this point, I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried of the delusion. Like, come on, come back to planet Earth now. Come on, come back to planet Earth. I just think that, you know, a straight jacket would look really good on her. Because what is this? She said she's tired of people saying that Haitians are not Black Americans. She's tired of that. Because during the Haitian Revolution, there was Haitians that were refugees in the 1790s. Keep that in mind, the 1790s. Okay. Haiti wasn't called Haiti. Haiti didn't become a country until 1804. So they were Haitians before Haiti existed. Okay, follow me. We're trying to work this out. They were Haitians before Haitians existed because it wasn't called Haiti until about 15 years past the date that she just said. Okay, but they were still Haitian. Okay. And then they came to America, and then there was the first census because of their migration, even though it wasn't that much. But technically, that wasn't the first census done. There's been census ever since 1619. That's how they documented where people were, how many people came here. There's been census throughout slavery. Census, I don't know where the idea that census started because of some Haitian refugees and the South in 1790. Actually, that's not true whatsoever. It's not even close to true. Okay, there's been census before. Now, the part that's getting me is the word original. Maybe I don't know maybe what the word original means. I thought I knew what it meant, but I think I don't know what it means because she's using the word original. It's a little bit confusing for me. So I'm gonna Google original. I'm gonna Google the definition. No, I'm going to Google the definition of that word, and we're going to do it together, okay? We're going to do it together. We're going to look at it together, okay? Because if I don't know, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are confused about the word original because she said Haitians were the original Black Americans. Okay, so let's do a little research here. The word original, okay, that's the word. It's original. It says present or existing from the beginning. First or earliest. Okay. Huh. Okay, let's look at it. Maybe it's another definition. It's created directly or personally by a particular artist. Okay, well, it's not talking about art. Okay, all right. So that's the word original. Okay, let's see. Hold on, right here. Okay, it's a Latin word. It's beginning or birth. Okay. Huh. Where is the word original coming from in this story? Even if we were to take everything she says as an absolute fact, how does that make y'all original? By her definition, we were already here. If you came here in 1790 as a refugee, you already came to a country, because you have to come to a country, right? You already came to a country that we were already here. So we are the original people here. I'm not seeing how she even fit the word original in that story. And then she says something about the Freedmen's Bureau. The Freedmen's Bureau came from the fact that we were identified and classified as freedmen. We were classified as freedmen because of slavery, not because of no refugees. The word freedman didn't start with the Freedmen's Bureau. Freedmen had already existed. There were already many of us who are freedmen at the time because of slavery. So how is the Freedmen's Bureau about Haitians? And then if y'all left Haiti before Haiti became Haiti, wouldn't y'all not be Haitian? So you gonna keep both? So you get to leave Haiti during the revolution before Haiti became Haiti, and then you get to come to America after America became America, and you get to be both? How does that work?
I'm so mad that mother just said.
What are we doing? Bam. I'm trying to, hold on. I got a little headache. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me take a sip of water. Hold on. I got a little headache. Oh, my brain is hurting. Hold on. Let me. Okay. All right, y'all. All right. Okay. All right. Y'all, they want to be us so bad. This is just sad. This is not cool. This is sad. This is really sad. They want to be us so bad. I mean, I get it. I do. I understand it. I understand it. But it's still sad. It's still, come on, just be a proud Haitian. What are you talking about? You want to be a Black American born? Yeah. If Haitian said you will never be Haiti, we're not gonna try to create some type of crazy ass story of and try to tie us to being Haitian or Haitian citizens. No. If somebody said, you'll never be Haitian, I would say I agree. Okay. I mean, that's just sad. But I get wanting to be like us. I mean, who wouldn't? Honestly. But ma'am, can somebody call the asylum or ICE, whichever one comes first? Can y'all call them and tell them they gonna need to bring a straight jacket with them? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. You look too young to be that drunk, ma'am. I don't know. Come on now. Let's not beat up on the disabled. Come on. I don't want to do it, but I just want to say you spewing misinformation, and I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't think that's a good idea. Let's get you. We got a couple more super chats. Let me get you. Justice FBA. Justice FBA says, the one saying let's go back to Africa should go back and clear a path for FBA like we did for them. We did. That's a good point. We made a lane for them. We didn't just allow them to, we didn't just fight for them to be able to immigrate in America, non-FBA. We also made a lane for them to come in, for them to start businesses, start an economy, start a family. We made a lane for them so they can come in and they can start participating in the economy and the real American dream, quote unquote. We did that for them. And when they came in, we were patriotizing their businesses. We were supporting them all of the way and all of their endeavors and things like that. We did that for them. They're not trying to do that for us. They're not even speaking about doing that for us. They're talking about us coming there and then kind of fixing the place up. And now we cool. If we're going to fix anything up, it's going to be here. And then let's get you from downtown. He says, I'm so confused when I look at these tethers. It says, don't know which end is which, because Dookie spews out of both. It's sad. It's that they just need some help, and they need professional help, more help than we can give them. So we knocking this stuff down. We knocking that down. And this, y'all, I'm telling y'all need to hit that like button, because we still got stuff to cover, man. We still got stuff to cover. We got a lot. We got a lot. All right. We got a lot to cover. Scrolling through, right? Hold on. I saw this video. Let me see. And because we have so much pride in our heritage.
In the early 2000s.
Scrolling through, a lot of people don't like that. Now, this is where the agent activity comes from. Now, I made a video regarding her, actually defending her, when I made that video. But here she is, and she has some things to say.
When I was growing up in the early 2000s, being Black was always very praised by Black people. Follow me. I remember the neo-soul era like it was yesterday, because it was prime time for me. Being Black and being proud to be Black was the center, was at the center of the neo-soul movement. But even going a little bit deeper, pro-blackness in the early 2000s, you can even say honestly from the 80s on to the early 2000s, was also centered in our roots to African people. So much so that we tried to find some sort of commonality. We knew that we did not have a direct lineage to our African ancestors. We didn't know which country we came from, so we just picked any goddamn thing. You see an advancement of the presence of Egyptian symbolism. You see a lot of dashikis and patterns that come from West Africa. A lot of those things happened and it exploded. You see a lot of Black people who have names that are Swahili and or Arabic. We have a lot of things that we tapped into because Black people were always trying to find commonality in other Black folks, right? With all that being said, present day, the separation that I see Black Americans have from the diaspora is interesting because I distinctly remember us wanting to feel like we had that connection with our ancestral lands. So now, present day, there is this forced separation, so much so that some niggas decided to create the FBA movement. And a part of that I'm empathetic to because we have always been searching for this sense of belonging. And with that came us really identifying that being a Black American is in and of itself our culture. That is who we are. That is where we belong. And I think that because of that search for belonging and identity, it turned into nationalism. And the reason nationalism is wrong.
Now, before we get into that, pause for a little bit because we got to break it down. To a degree, what she is saying is not incorrect. It is correct. There was a point in our history, and I'm pretty sure we all can acknowledge this. There was a point in our history where we did have a lot of reverence, okay? And we did put Africa, the continent, the culture on this big pedestal, okay? And this was really coming right after the civil rights movement. It started a little bit during, but it was kind of really after the civil rights movement, after kind of the Black Panther Party movement and everything like that, where we was all like, we were Africa'd out, okay? And a lot of Black people, the image of pro-blackness was wearing a dashiki, was wearing a kufi, we even had our names changed to like more African themed names or countries named after Africa or things like that. We had Africa tattoos, and that was the phase of pro-blackness, okay? Because we rejected the identity, or what we were trying to find really was what we believed at the time was our roots. Okay, we were trying to reclaim what we believed, even though it was stolen, but what we believed was our stolen roots from the motherland of Africa. And this is a part of our history and a part of our development. So that's happened. Then we started to kind of see how the Africa theme stuff and everything like that, us putting on the dashikis, some of us even naming ourselves after African names or whatever the case may be. We started to see how the infatuation that we had with Africa or Africans, we started to see how that wasn't reciprocated. The respect wasn't reciprocated. The love wasn't reciprocated and everything. And even though we really did tap into that, there was always this big distance. It was always a big distance that we can never fully really embrace culturally because of this huge distance. To bring up, if you guys have seen the Sinners movie, the movie Sinners, shout out to Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler, he was doing an interview and he said, because he was the one who directed the Black Panther movie. All right. Let me pull up a clip from Ryan, because this is a part of our development where we were going like hundreds of years back. This is, hold on, I got to pull these clips up. We were going hundreds of years back and we weren't tapping into what we have here, our roots here, what we were doing. And this was a part of our development that we're growing out of, is we were skipping over our lineage here to try to find and even create some connection to Africa. All right. Let me pull up what he had to say.
It's an opportunity for me to do some research about my lineage. And I opportunity before with the Panther films, and in that situation, you know, me being a foundational Black American, you know, my family has been here, you know, for over 400 years, essentially, you know, in North America. But you know, the Panther films allowed me to travel back to the continent of Africa and spend time there, and you know, and contemplate our distant ancestry as it relates to the continent, as it relates to the diaspora. This movie afforded me the opportunity to go back to my more recent lineage, you know, 100 years or so, you know, and go back to, you know, the Mississippi, a state that I had never been to.
Okay, so this is exactly what I'm talking about. We went through a phase, and it was a part of our development. It was a part of what we all, what pro-black people felt like we should be on, the page we all felt like we should be on. We should be on. Oh, and to a degree, it was almost subconsciously a little bit defeating for us, because we had believed that they had a culture richer than our culture. We not only tried to create a connection to the continent of Africa, what we did is we sabotaged ourselves, because we were telling ourselves that our connection isn't here. And we were deliberately skipping over our connection here, and we were going to try to create or find some connection and reconnect or something to Africa or to some place outside of America. And throughout the time and throughout the constant effort and failure, the trial and error, and then the start and failure of Pan-Africanism and the movement that really never was, to be honest, then we started to really re-embrace our culture here, just like our brother Ryan said. He was like, yeah, we were skipping over and we were going over that, but we have history, deep-rooted history here on this land that we haven't been paying enough homage to. And when we talk about our history here, our history in this country, our history that predates this country, we have a better, more cultural and even spiritual connection to what happened here, and the bravery and the character and the perseverance of our ancestors here than we ever have in another country in Africa. So that part is true. Now, when she says the thing about the quote unquote FBA movement, we created the FBA movement, that's kind of like incorrect to a degree. Let me clear that up. Let me clear it up. The FBA movement wasn't created, okay? It was formed. Follow me, all right? Before even the term FBA, there was always a small pocket of us, even Dr. Claude Anderson, much respect to Dr. Claude Anderson, he was always talking about how we are indigenous here and we need to focus on our lineage here. So there was already a number of us who was very lineage focused. We've been kind of lineage focused really ever since the Trayvon Martin, to be very honest. That started a new movement after the civil rights movement. That was the new big movement that some people call it the Black Lives Matter movement, so to speak. Okay, call it what you want to call it, but that was a newer movement, more lineage based. All right. So the fighting of the lineage started kind of really there. All right. And it started to grow even before the term FBA was created, even before the term ADOS was created. We started to notice that, hey, we really need to reclaim our lineage here. That movement been started. Now, FBA, people call it the FBA movement. People call it the reparations movement. Some people just call it the movement. And I want to quote our good brother, rest in power to him. I want to quote, I can't believe, Fred Hampton. I want to quote Fred Hampton, okay? He says, you can kill a revolutionary, but you can never kill a revolution. The revolution, brothers and sisters, never died. It didn't die out. There was times when it was up and there was times when it was low, but the revolution in and of itself never really just died out. That's never been the case. The revolution evolves. Revolutions evolve. We had the revolution in the civil rights movement. It slowed down because of deliberate sabotage. And then the revolution spiked up during the, I guess, the Trayvon Martin era, if you want to call it that. And with that, the second spike after the civil rights movement, it was an evolution in that. And the evolution was more lineage based. So it really started from there. So it's not like a group of people got together and said, hey, we should make a lineage based movement. That didn't happen. It was conversations, consistent conversations that we were having. Okay. The age of social media was also a big thing where people were putting out more information about their lineage and about our indigenous history and about our the facts of America. So the movement and the revolution started to evolve and grow into what became what we are here today seeing. And then when the term FBA was invented or coined just to specify our lineage was always our lineage. You can call our lineage whatever you want to call it, but our lineage is still always going to be our lineage. You might not like the term FBA. That don't mean it's not FBA. If we call it FBA, if culturally we call it FBA, if I say this lineage, I call it FBA, you can't say that's not a thing. You can't say that. So it wasn't when people say, yeah, you started the FBA movement. No, the movement always existed. It was just not lineage based enough how it needs to be. It wasn't the emphasis on the revolution and the emphasis on the movement wasn't lineage based or reparations based. And then it evolved into that. So that's the better way of putting that. All right, let's get to, we got a couple more super chats and then I want to get to what she has to say because then she kind of flips. Appreciate you. Dead Blaze, appreciate you, says truth. Chosen 1619 says setting boundaries and caring for self is wrong. That's apparently let them tell it that's wrong. But let's get back to what she was talking about.
And or bad. Search for belonging and identity, it turned into nationalism. And the reason nationalism is wrong and or bad in this sense is because it's tied to American nationalism. And American nationalism, unfortunately, is going to be tied to white supremacy. We have tried to find identity so much so that we have pushed this idea of separation, which is how we play into the diaspora wars. There are things to be said about African people and Caribbean people and even people in the UK, those black people. There's a lot to be said about the way in which they participate in the diaspora wars. And I've talked about it before. But I wanted to focus on Black Americans because what I want y'all to understand is that the more we participate in diaspora wars, the more we play into the hands of white supremacists. Because as I'm watching it happen, I'm like, this was never us. This is never who we were. We used to revere people from Africa. And we used to uphold people from the Caribbean islands because there was a sense of like, wow, like there are countries where there are just only Black people. And it's not that we were jealous, but there was a curiosity. And now because there is a certain fear of separation again from rights, what's happening is the Republican Party has transitioned their tactics to focus.
Now, before we get into the Republican Party transitioning their tactics, before we get into that whole talking point, let's get to the whole argument of nationalism and our participation in the diaspora war, okay? when people say we participate in the diaspora war, no, we don't participate in the diaspora war. Okay. What we're doing now is right now, and I'm talking about the collective. I'm not talking about every single individual, because I don't want y'all to pull up one clip or one person. The collective is not engaging in the diaspora war. What we're engaging is in an ethnic and cultural gatekeeping that we've been needing to engage in for the longest time, because what we're going through is an ethnic and cultural erasure. All right. It's either true or it's not true, and it's true. We're going through an ethnic erasure, and I'm not trying to sit up here and fearmonger or the whole great replacement theory or whatever the case is. What I mean by that is saying this. We're going to play a little bit of what Conscious Lee has to say, but what I mean by that is saying exactly what the Haitian lady said. That's why I played the Haitian woman before this, because they're coming in and saying that actually we're the original Americans. This is not your stuff. This is not your country. This is not your land. This is our land. We belong here, not you. That is cultural and ethnic erasure. Okay? Everything that we've done, they got us, they're coming in and they're trying to sit up there and say, actually, if we're going to be honest, it was really us that did that, not you. That's cultural and ethnic, because really to have an ethnic erasure is also a cultural erasure as well too. Okay, that's cultural appropriation, which does equal ethnic and cultural theft, which is what we're fighting against. So when we say things like, hey, you're not from here, because we have them coming over here, and we have them saying, well, everybody, we're all the same people. We're all from the motherland. So what's yours is mine, right? I mean, ain't we all from the motherland? That's the type of energy they have. And then when we try to do that with them, and we say, okay, well, I guess what's yours is mine too, right? They be like, oh, no. Why do you think that? No, don't even look over here. No. That's how they get. Remember the situation with Michael B. Jordan? We can't forget that. The situation with Michael B. Jordan, I mean, they were called anything African themed, we do, anything Caribbean themed, we do. They deem that as cultural appropriation and will call it out, proudly call that out. And then the second we say, okay, well, if that's the energy we having, we gonna keep that energy. Then it becomes, oh, that sounds like nationalism to me. I don't know. That sounds like xenophobia. Hold on, whoa. So the definition changes when you do it. When we practice what you practice, the definition changes. It becomes xenophobia when we practice what you practice, because y'all don't like us touching, looking at, admiring, nothing y'all do. Y'all say hands off, don't look, don't touch, don't do nothing. Stay away from everything we got going on. Anytime we do anything quote unquote African themed, you know what I'm saying? They call that cultural appropriation. Okay, so then when y'all come in and y'all be trying to really, and we don't even be claiming, mind you, we don't even be claiming to be the originators of their stuff. We allow them to take full credit for everything that they do. Full credit. And when it comes to stuff that we've done, there's always this people grinding their teeth, people sitting there with attitudes when it's time for us to take credit for what we've done. Notice that. All right. Notice anytime we try to take credit for something we've done, we have them, not even just tethers. We got the white supremacists, everybody. Every time we try to take credit for what we've done, we always got people like, I don't know. We can't. You got to share it at least. Hip hop is 50-50. You got to share it with some Hispanics. Please come on now. We everything we do is always, well, you can't do that without giving credit to Jamaica. Now you can't do that without giving credit to Puerto Ricans. You got to give credit to Latinos. No, you got to give credit to the white man. Damn. Everything we do, everything we build, everything we fight for, everything we make, we always got to give credit out to other people. Then it's not like we give a little bit of credit out or pay homage to. Then they come and be all like, well, I mean, you gave me 20% credit, but really, I think I should have like about 40%, really. And they would say, okay, well, I guess about 40%. Okay, 40%, that's fine. Actually, now that I think about it, I think like 50, I mean, we kind of did it 50-50, right? Okay, 50-50. Actually, this is really mine. Yeah. Why don't you just give me all of it? Yeah. How about that? That's what it comes to. That's what it turns into. You start giving people a little bit of credit that they don't deserve, which is disrespectful to our ancestry because that's stolen valor. We start giving them credit that they didn't deserve. You know, there might be one or two slavery abolitionists. Next thing you know, it was white people running the Underground Railroad. That's what they'll say. You say, you know what? Puerto Ricans were present after the creation of hip hop. So what you're really saying is Puerto Ricans made hip hop. That's what it becomes. That's what it turns into. And we've been going through that for generations. So at this point, we're very, very sensitive of the invasion of that. We're very sensitive of people trying to claim credit for something that they don't deserve. So we're just not going for that no more. All right, let's continue though. Let's continue. Now she's going to bring up the whole thing about the Republicans.
On the fears of Black Americans, when previously what they would do is focus their tactics on the fears of poor white people. They already got them, right? But what's happening is they are losing the majority, right? They've continuously lost the majority vote over the course of a couple of years because you can't just rely on white people anymore. So what they've done, and they've done well, is start to go after strategically minority groups, right? By using scare tactics that will work. So they are using scare tactics in our community to make us fearful and look distantly towards African people, Caribbean people, and thus as such resulting in more separation and these diaspora wars.
Okay. And anytime people say stuff like that, and more separation, you can't separate something that was never together. Okay, let's be honest. And we're going to have to tell the truth. To be very clear with you. When we were fighting for Black immigrants, we were fighting for Africa. And we were fighting for a bunch of African and Caribbean immigrants to come over, right? When we were fighting for them to come over, the idea and the plan was that we were fighting against racism, the system of racism, the system of white supremacy. And we assumed, we just had the natural assumption that they were going to come and they were going to join forces with us. That was the natural assumption. Were there a couple of them who did? We will give credit where credit is due. You know I will. I will always give credit where credit is due. But the mass immigration, that didn't work out for us. And it never has. There's never been a whole group of anybody, whether they're Asian, whether they're Hispanic, whether they're from Africa, whether they're Caribbean, who've come here and been all like, hey, y'all, what we got to do, let's get this thing popping. That's never happened. And that it's a sad reality, but it's a truth that we need to start telling. It's a truth we need to start telling. It's never been that way. It's always been, they come over, they want their own little enclave neighborhoods and stuff like that. They say, hey, I got mine. I'm looking out for me. They practice incredible nepotism. And they say, hey, it is me and mine. We here for the dollars, and that's it. We ain't here to join no revolution. We ain't here to join no fight. That's not why we came over here. And we've heard that. We've seen that with the Asian community. We've seen that with the Hispanic community. We've seen that with Africans coming over here. We've seen that with Caribbeans coming over here. We've always seen that. And we fought for all of them. We fought for all of them. We created a lane for all of them to come over. And every time we do, they say, well, I mean, thanks, but all that revolutionary stuff, y'all got it. As a matter of fact, let me kick y'all with them. That's the truth. That's the truth. So when you say that we're being used to fuel a diaspora war and separate us, no, because all this quote unquote separation, we're making it seem like this is a new thing. No, we're just acknowledging it publicly, but this always been this way. It's always been that way. All right.
And it's unsettling to watch because it's seemingly unclockable to y'all that a lot of y'all are falling into Republican rhetoric and propaganda. And I want us to just be a little bit more insightful to things that we consume. The reason we call things a pipeline is because it starts really, really soft. It starts really, really small. And it feeds you things that's very palatable. And once you get to one level and you've completed that level, you just keep going down the pipeline. They're never going to hit you with, hey, let's be racist. They're never going to hit you with that. They're going to hit you where you can identify. Yeah, you're right. Now that I think about it, yeah, there is all the Black beauty creators. They're not Black Americans. Where did you get that from?
No, okay. And I'm gonna stop it right there because then she starts making reference to a video that we haven't played yet. Because then that goes down to a thing, and we got a lot more to cover, y'all. The big stuff is just coming up. There was a Black woman who said that, a Black American FBA sister, who said that in the beauty industry, or in the she made a TikTok video and said, as far as beauty influencers, what she means is influencers that do makeup and hairstyles and jewelry and stuff like that. Most of the representatives in the beauty industry are non-FBA. That's what she was saying. She was all like, where's our representation in the beauty industry? Our Black American representation in the beauty industry? And a whole bunch of people are like, oh, that sounds xenophobic. No. Because there's no way, if we went to anywhere else in the world, this is how I would rebuttal. If we went to anywhere else in the world, if we went to Jamaica and we had a damn monopoly on any industry there, they would call that out. If we went to Mexico and had a monopoly on anything, and they felt that their people were not being accurately and properly represented, they would call that out. And it's only when they come over here and they start inching us out the room, and when we say it, it's xenophobia when we say it, right? When we say they're coming over here and we're noticing that there's preferential treatment, not they're working harder, but we're noticing like, okay, it seems like the algorithms and the people that make these people big, it seems like there's preferential treatment for people who are non-FBA. And it's wrong when we call it out. But if we was to go anywhere else and have a not even a monopoly, just if we were to dominate a industry, the beauty industry, the makeup industry, the hair industry, they would call that same thing out. They would call that out. So it's not wrong when we call it out. It's not wrong. Okay. But y'all, we gotta get to the big fish, y'all. Consciously, boy. This man been out here. We talked about him yesterday on my live stream. Y'all make sure y'all watch after this. But this man been out here talking about The FBA, we aligning with Trump and white supremacists and all of this stuff. And he had a whole panel, or he had a whole live stream where he was quote unquote debating FBA on talking points. Okay. He was debating us on talking points. Y'all know we got to get into it. Y'all already know. I hope y'all got y'all popcorn. I told y'all earlier that y'all needed to get y'all popcorn. I hope y'all still got some popcorn. If not, y'all better run to the kitchen. Y'all better run and get some more. Y'all better run and get some more, because I'm about to pull these clips up and we about to get into it. Now, before I do, if y'all would do me a favor, if y'all would be so kind as to hit that like button, that would mean a lot. That would mean a lot. Let me pull this clip up real quick. So here's the first clip. All right, here we go.
Ooh, boy. Now, hey, listen. Just just like say, okay.
If somebody put the popcorn in the chat room, y'all funny. If y'all ready for this, because this dude, he think he taking FBA down. If y'all ready for us to clap back at him, put the popcorn emoji in the chat room. If y'all ready to watch and learn and be entertained and educated at the same time, put the popcorn emoji in the chat room. I want to know how many of us is ready for this, because I'm ready. Boy, oh boy, here we go. Oh yeah, it's a lot of popcorn. It's a lot of popcorn. I love it. I like popcorn. Here we go.
NLC, I see. As soon as we push the cameras and we mute, so I guess we can't switch the camera up on them, man. I gotta have my technician come up in here. But what we know is that the world knows that if Black people ever come together, the way in which they steal our culture and our resources and be able to prop up their home countries, that shit gonna cease to exist. So they gotta have individuals that get paid like the FBA to literally try to manufacture, you feel me, all type of division within the Black community, especially in America, because they know that if niggas come together, if people of African descent come together, they recognize it's gonna wreak havoc on the world.
Okay, so he gonna say we getting paid. We're getting paid, and he's implying we're getting paid by some type of government agency or something like that. We're getting paid to create division. It's interesting. I did a live stream not long ago. Do you guys remember in New Orleans? It was like maybe a couple weeks ago, a few weeks ago. Do you guys remember how there was a parade called the Zulu Parade in New Orleans, and you had thousands of South Africans online and other people from Africa online bad mouthing, dissing foundational Black Americans, making fun of Harriet Tubman, making fun of slavery, calling us the most uneducated Black people, calling us everything but a child of God. Do you guys remember? That was only a couple weeks ago. Now, that's not starting a diaspora war. That they're not agents who are dividing the community. I mean, and they was dragging us over something that they claimed was cultural appropriation. There goes Pan-Africanism again. Even though that's not what the people in New Orleans were doing. And they drugged the whole lineage. Okay? So we're creating the division by just acknowledging that we should be on the same page they're on, by just acknowledging that, you know what, okay, if y'all want to delineate, because let's be honest, when they talk about delineation as xenophobic, delineation is not xenophobic. It's a natural human thing. Having different ethnicities is by definition a delineation. By definition, we've always been delineated. Can we understand? Can we acknowledge that? We've always been delineated. The problem is we've just been gaslit into not acknowledging our delineation. That's the only issue. We've always been delineated. We've always been different from everybody else, which is not a bad thing. That's just a natural thing. We've just never acknowledged that until recently. But now us acknowledging that is us being paid by the government. The same delineation that they be doing is bad for us to do. That, according to him.
So you got to have individuals like the FBA that believes that because the boat dropped them off in America, or because somebody came from America and bought their ass on the boat and brought them to America, they better. You feel me? They have to act like they white male counterparts and believe that because they are American, it's the best thing, sliced bread, and that they are always already more superior than other black folks because, hey, they're American. I'm talking about Haitians, Dominicans, or Puerto Ricans, or Afro-Colombians, Nigerians, you feel me? Burkina. Listen. In this debate, I'm going to be busting this man's ass on 3 arguments. The first argument I'm going to be making is about how citizenship, birth.
Before he even gets into the argument, all it is, oh, y'all think y'all better and everything like that. No, we're just acknowledging the fact that this isn't even to shame anybody or to big ourselves up. I mean, we could if we want to, but we ain't even trying to do that. We're not trying to do that. What we're trying to say is something that is a fact. You not liking it being a fact doesn't change the fact that it's a fact. It's a fact. We're not the same. We are delineated by definition. We're delineated. We've always been, since the beginning of slavery, we've been delineated. Slavery forced ethnogenesis. It was a forced ethnogenesis, and it was a forced delineation. We just didn't acknowledge it. That was the only difference. We just didn't acknowledge it, or not acknowledge it, but we didn't accept it. It's a better say that we didn't accept it. We always wanted to know we're really, really African because we didn't accept our delineation. We didn't accept our ethnogenesis. Now we're starting to come collectively. We're starting to come to terms with that. And all of a sudden that we're the villains because we're coming to terms with something that's always happened, always existed, always been there. Delineations, but the definition is just separating 2 things, acknowledging that 2 things are not the same. That is what it means. It doesn't mean hate. It doesn't mean being spiteful. It doesn't mean being nationalistic or xenophobic. Delineation, just by definition, means the acknowledgement that 2 things are not the same. That is the definition of it. That's always been that way. We just never acknowledged that. Now we're acknowledging that. Now, if you have an issue with delineation, why are you not going to everywhere else in Africa? See, that's my issue. And I'm going to let it play because we're going to be here. I told y'all, we're going to be here. My issue is the people who have an issue with delineation. Why do y'all not have an issue with the entire diaspora who also delineate? That's my thing. If in your opinion, if delineation is so wrong, so evil, so anti-black, you should have just as much, if not more, of an issue with the entire diaspora, but you don't. We're the only people that you be calling xenophobic and anti-black and nationalistic. We're the only people. Why does the word delineation is okay for everybody else except when it comes to us? Why are we held to a different standard than the rest of the world? Can you explain that to me? Starting a diaspora war when we just acknowledge that we're different, that they've been saying that. They've been saying that. Why don't you go ask Michael B. Jordan how we're just starting to delineate, or tell him if he hasn't felt the fact that they delineated from him when he tried to do that thing with Jorvette, the rum. Ask him about his opinion of delineation, because they damn sure made sure they delineated from him when he tried to do that thing. Remember, there was a couple years ago, that one woman, hold on. Actually, I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm going to show you. Why are we talking about it when I can show you? Let me show you. Okay. Remember this.
Right, citizenship specifically.
Hold on. Remember this.
Start gatekeeping carnival.
Okay, hold on. Y'all remember this young lady? Do y'all remember this young lady?
We need to start gatekeeping carnival. There is no reason on this earth for anybody that's not from the Caribbean to be at Carnival. And I don't care how y'all feel on the subject. Carnival is starting to get too commercialized for me. Y'all know I love Jada Waiter, but what the fuck do her and her American friends know about Carnival? You're not from the Caribbean, you don't know the music, you don't know the people, you don't know the food, you don't know the culture. What are you doing at Carnival? A lot of y'all look at Carnival as just a way to dress skimpy and go outside and shake your ass. And the fact that y'all reduce our culture to such bullshit just because you want to post on Instagram. And then I'm confused because a lot of y'all that are trying to talk down, y'all come from cultures that are disrespected in every which corner of this earth. So where do you find the space to talk about what Caribbean people are doing? I feel like you need to be either a citizen of a Caribbean island or eligible for citizenship on a Caribbean island to be at Carnival, period. I don't care.
Can I ask y'all a question? I have my stance on it, but I want to get your stance on it. Is that not divisive? Is that not maybe even xenophobic? Is that not divisive? Was that not divisive? I don't know, because we're held to a different standard. So what's divisive for us is different from what's divisive from them. So I just want to know: is that not divisive? Was that not xenophobic? And she was not the only one to make a video like that. She was not the only one to say that. Just keep that in mind. Okay, all right. So that is kind of xenophobic and divisive. Now, if we say, okay, fine, we not Caribbeans. We don't know the culture. We don't know the music. Cool. All right. So when we get, like, for instance, shout out to the movie centers again, when we got our own juke joints and we playing our own FBA music, if we say, no, this FBA music, oh, y'all so xenophobic. Oh, y'all so divisive. Y'all just hate us. No. Y'all been on that type of time. This ain't new. This woman ain't new. Y'all been on that type of time. And I don't want y'all to talk about how it's just the older people who are just stuck in their ways. You know how old folks get. They don't change. They're just stuck in their ways. You can't teach a dog new tricks. She's young. So this ain't just the older Caribbeans who are just stuck in their ways. These are young men and young women who are on that type of page. So I don't want to hear nothing about us being divisive, because he didn't call that out. These Pan-Africanists don't call that out and don't say they're agents who are paid to spew division. When we get told we can't be in Carnival, when we get told we can't make nothing about Jorvette, when we get told we're not African, when we get told all this stuff, that's just, hey, they're just telling you guys you're not from here. Okay, all right. So we're just telling you guys that you're not from here. Boy, getting back to it, though.
Country,
y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, please, and thank you.
Structure about the Black experience. I'm going to be referencing Dred Scott and how the Dred Scott decision shows you that whether your Black ass want to identify with being African descent or not, the rest of the world going to always view you that way. Within me talking about the Dred Scott decision, we're going to be getting into how birthright citizenship, or the word citizen, was never intended to be for Black people. It is literally what the Supreme Court justices say in 1871 or 1861 when the Dred Scott decision is being handed down. Justice Robert Taney is his name. He says that literally the word citizen was never made for nor intended to apply to Black people, people of African descent. Therefore, Dred Scott trying to claim he gets the privileges or the rights of the Constitution does not really transfer to him, because he is not the word. It's not intended for him. And this is what I love right here. If you cannot understand words that have 3 or 4 syllables, just say that. You don't have to engage in the type of pathology that the white folks engage in by talking about somebody as speaking babble. Just say you can't comprehend the argument and keep it moving. You ain't got to engage in none of the bullshit gaslighting at all, because it's being disingenuous. It's not really coming into the argument in great faith. But what I know is that anytime I go live and we have an audience, The FBA crowd never know where to be found. But I can make a little bullshit tweet. You see what I'm saying? A little bullshit tweet, and here come all other niggas with the red, white, and blue flag. Nowhere to be found. You feel me? I'm talking about they everywhere though. I'm talking about that. They'll be proverbially trying to jump me up in the comment sections, but you know what I mean, the mentions. But as soon as consciously go live, none of these red, white, and blue patriotic peons come nowhere to be found. They nowhere to be found ever.
Red, white, and blue patriotic peons. He feeling himself, ain't he? Ain't he feeling himself? I mean, he feeling himself. This man is feeling himself. Red, white, and blue patriotic peons. Oh, we ain't nowhere to be found. We just scared of him.
I swear to God, nowhere never be found. You feel me? I'm talking about never. Never, ever. Ever, ever. Ever, ever, ever. You can get the biggest FBA, the smallest FBA. They ain't trying to see consciously, though. They ain't trying to see me. Niggas can Wakanda forever. You can jam your Afro beats. You feel me? You can be Rihanna Navy. Hey, listen, man, when Rihanna left Barbados, it was more niggas still in Barbados. See what I'm saying?
All right. So he go on, right? I mean, this dude, he think he bad. I give him the fact that he got a very advanced vocabulary. I give him that. He's a smooth talker. He can be. He be telling a lot of mistruths. But the thing is, if you can make it sound intelligent, then people will believe it. So if you speak fast and you can kind of make the point and you speak with conviction, and if you use a big word here or there, it will make it seem as if what you're saying is true, and it's not. It's not. Oh, he's talking about we scared of him. Oh boy. So he brings on a FBA brother and he lays out the 3 debates. Okay, so we're gonna get into the debates that he laid out. We're gonna get into that.
Was it good?
So he brings this guy on.
Conscious.
Let's just get it going, man. Let's get it going. We've waited long enough.
Yes, sir. I wanted to give you your time, get your little opening monologue off. You feel me? I'm a guest on your show, but I'm here.
Nah, I was ready to get it going, but to show you though, do you want to speak first? Or do you want to speak last? And how long you want the speeches to be? I think I need like 2 or 3 speeches. That's it.
Up to you. I'm here. Whatever you want. I'm willing to suffice to that. So let's get it.
Okay. 5-minute speech.
Yep, that's cool.
You want me to go first, or you go first?
You can start off. Well, we doing 3 topics, right? We going in what order?
We want 3 topics. What are 3 topics?
You said I believe it was Pan-Africanism, immigration, and birthright citizenship.
Yeah, I'm put all 3 of those arguments together. It makes sense to you.
Bet.
All right, let's hear what he got to say, y'all. Are y'all ready? Y'all ready? Let's hear what he got to say.
I'm just gonna set the timer right here. You know what I'm saying? Make sure we stick to the punctuality. You know what I mean? That way it's gonna go off the tracks right here. 5 minutes. So right here in this 5 minutes, man, all I must make is 3 arguments. Our first argument, which I've already went over, but he went here yet. First argument is about birthright citizenship in this country, especially when it comes to the law, is structured by the Black American experience. From the Dred Scott decision that decided that the word citizen was never intended for people of.
You said you want to see the caller. You can't. The caller didn't come up on screen. That's why I might as well zoom into his face, because the caller actually didn't show his face. So you only see consciously anyway.
African descent. That's very important. It's literally written within the code of law, but also talks about how Black people were never intended to be for the word citizen. What happened was, in the 14th Amendment was passed, the 14th Amendment overturned the Dred Scott decision that said that any individual that's naturalized in America is what they call a birthright citizen. My point to you and all the rest of the FBA gangsters is that when we start talking about birthright citizenship in this country, it is always already about Black people. Right now, they're talking about it in conversation to immigration. What we know is individuals that understand the law is that the law sets precedents. If you're able to overturn a particular law, that law and what precedent it sets also becomes overturned. So when we start talking about Donald Trump being able to sign over an initiative to overturn birthright citizenship, my argument is that is going to have an impact on the political, social, economic reality of Black people, because that particular law is what literally birthed our citizenship into faction. Number two argument is that even if you believe that you don't care about, you feel me, the black immigrants, the Haitians, you feel me, the Dominicans, the Puerto Ricans, even if you say you don't care about them, right? We know that them are always in proximity to us and how we live. We know that whether you live in LA, Houston, New York, Chicago, Miami, black communities are always in proximity to the immigrant communities. My argument is that we understand this, and it's the reason why it's important, is that these policing and the surveillance and the targeting always spills over into the black community. Always spills over into the black community. So while there are surveillance in, you feel me, the Dominican community or surveillance in the Haitian community, that surveillance also has an impact on how we live in proximity to who they surveillance and who they targeting. That is two reasons why I'm telling you for sure. And when we win this argument, win this debate single-handedly, is that these is the reasons why black people should also care about what's going on, specifically when it comes to birthright citizenship and when it comes to mass deportation. The third thing is, to me, the most obvious thing, and the reason why I know, but it's like, when you respond, make sure you respond to the three arguments I'm saying, you feel me? Because you want me to go first. I mean, you definitely ready to respond. So the whataboutisms ain't gonna get you nowhere in this argument. You see what I'm saying? The third reason, when Donald Trump talks about deporting the enemy within, when he talks about starting next with the homegrown criminals, everybody in the foundation of Black Americans, can y'all acknowledge to me, right, that the people that are most likely to find themselves criminal, Black people, the most people to find themselves convicted as a punishment of crime, Black people. So when Donald Trump says that he's going to start now with the enemy within, or go next, you feel me, with the homegrown criminals, why would our Black asses not think that we are not next in line? Showing you that when it comes to deportation, birthright citizenship, or even the policing, Black people should care about this. You see what I'm saying? Right now, this is when I pop my shit a little bit. I already do this. You feel me? Right now, I got 1 minute and 45 seconds left. Now, I just want to point out the reason why this man about to get his ass intellectually busted on is because he came to my comments, came to my mentions, you feel me, and started doing all this woofing. And what I know is that anytime when the FBA dudes throw a little pepper with my shit, I come and none of them come. You feel me? Where y'all at? See this dude right here? He don't even want to show his face. he don't even want to show his face for this ass whipping. He don't even want you to hear him because he know that when he go back to the FBA gang and say, God damn, you let little old Lily whoop your ass like that, you're gonna be like, hey man, it wasn't me. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about I'm such a monster to these dudes, they don't even want to show their face with me.
Well, damn. All right. Whoo, the big bad monster. Did he refer to himself as Lily? If I'm not did he say, y'all, you let little Lily? Did he refer to himself as Lily? Hold on, let me take that back a little bit. Hold on, did he just refer to himself as Lily? Hold on.
God damn, you let little old Lily whoop your ass like that, you're gonna be like, hey man, it wasn't me.
Oh, yeah, okay, he did. Okay, he did. He referred to himself as Lily. Okay, so the big bad Lily. Okay, let's talk about the big bad Lily. Let's talk about it. The first point he made, is correct. The 14th Amendment is about foundational Black Americans. That's who the whole thing was designed around. For it was about all of that. The Dred Scott decision, because Dred Scott was supposed to be free, but he didn't have the rights of a citizen. So that's why the Dred Scott was formed around the fact that, okay, they are you get you get to be a citizen and you get to enjoy all of the rights of a citizen, okay, based off of being born in this land. It was about us. It wasn't about everybody else. Trump, and what he says too is the fact that Trump is overturning that. Trump is not overturning the 14th Amendment. Let's be honest. And this don't make me no Trump supporter, but Trump is not overturning the 14th Amendment. He's making a necessary amendment to the 14th Amendment because there's been a loophole that's been exploited for generations now. Everybody's acknowledged the fact that it's been exploited. Nobody can deny that it's been exploited, where nobody can deny that America in particular has an anchor baby issue that nobody else in the world has. Can we deny that? No. Because of the exploitation of the 14th Amendment that says as long as you're born here, you're a citizen, and there's nothing that can refute that. So by definition, that means you can literally not be a citizen and have a baby with someone who's not a citizen. You can be illegal. Both your parents can be illegal as long as you're born in America, you're a citizen. Nowhere in the world does that work. Okay? That exploitation, it was an oversight when the law of the 14th Amendment was made. Nobody thought about how exploitive it can be. And now we're realizing, and we're paying, the country is paying for all of the people who are coming here dropping anchor babies off. So Trump is acknowledging something that we've been acknowledged for a long time. A lot of people have acknowledged, a lot of politicians have acknowledged for a long time. Hey, we need to plug that little hole. That loophole, we need to find a way to plug that, because we're letting a lot of anchor babies come through with that. And that's not safe. First off, it's not safe, and it's not advantageous for the betterment of the country. So it's not, he is not a reversal of the 14th Amendment. Trump can't do that. The president can't do that. But it is an amendment, even though the amendment is being challenged, but it is necessary. Okay? Okay, that's point one. Point two. The whole thing about black immigrants and all that stuff, they live in proximity to us. See, this is where he gets disingenuous, because let me show you something. Can I show you something? Let me show you something. This is the page he's really on. This is the page he's like really, really on, right? Okay, let's look at it. I think, oh God, okay. Where is it? He says, I think the black community should be concerned with immigration. This is the page he's really on, y'all. We should be concerned with immigration and ICE. Now, in his debate argument, he didn't bring up ICE, did he? Did he bring up ICE? Did he mention ICE? No. Oh, but we should be concerned with that and ICE. So he's not talking, even if you want to say black immigrants, which we shouldn't allow a body here illegally, but most of this is about the Hispanics that's been coming in under the Biden administration. So he's talking about us standing on the front lines fighting against mass deportation. That's what he's really talking about. He's not going to admit it. He's not going to admit it, but that's what he's talking about. Oh, we should fight against ICE. And why should we fight against ICE? Most of us live in communities with immigrants in them being targeted, and police increases policing in our communities. That doesn't make sense. ICE is there for a very specific reason. ICE isn't out here doing street patrols and pulling people over. No, those are the local police. We're not seeing an increase in the local police department in our neighborhoods that are already over-policed. ICE, we're not worried about ICE. And this is the DNC agenda to fear-monger and to get us worried about some deportation. We're out here worried that, oh, you know, ICE in the neighborhood, they're going to pick you up. No, y'all been saying that for the last 6 months. I think you would think they get tired. You would think they get tired of saying that. ICE is coming for y'all. Okay. It's coming soon. Okay. Really soon. Okay. It's close. Okay. When is it coming? When are we going to get deported? They've been saying that for 6 months now. And then next, I'm telling you. I'm trying to tell you. It's coming. Y'all getting deported. Well, where? I don't know where, but it's coming. Well, no, it's not. We're not worried about being deported. Then he goes into even further fearmonger us getting deported. Well, Trump said he's thinking about deporting homegrown criminals. Who do you think that is? That's us. Okay. If Trump is, even if we want to say that Trump is saying that he wants to deport actual citizens that are criminals, where is he going to do that? Because Trump was having an issue having the country take their own people back. Remember? Where is Trump going to drop off American citizens who are criminals? That's not going to happen. Trump might have put that idea out there, I didn't hear him say it, but I heard headlines say he said that. But if he put that idea out there, that idea is so far from the truth. You might as well say Trump is going to completely tear the Constitution up and make his own Constitution. Yeah, that's not going to happen either. There's limitations to what the president can do. He's not going to deport. If that's the case, when is that happening? Because he deporting a lot of people who from ICE. ICE been deporting people for several months now. And I ain't seen none of us get deported. So when are we going to get deported? This whole fear of, oh, y'all know it's about to happen to us next. Is ICE on his way? I don't know. Like, come on now. When?
See what I'm saying? I'm talking about, I'm such a monster to these dudes. They don't even.
And I mean, this dude, first off, he just babbled or whatever the case is. And now, I mean, he patting himself on the back. He big up in himself. He said, I'm Monster Lee. Can't nobody see me. I got bars. Okay.
They don't want to show their face with me. You feel me? They don't want to show their face with me. Hey, these white folks got something called the NATO agreement, the North Atlantic Trade Agreement, right? It's about how white European countries, along with Canada and America, are able to engage in international relations that acknowledges their kinship, that allows them to fuck over African nations and Black Americans. So when he says that we only should focus on ourselves, think about how white Europeans, when Russia fucking over Ukrainians, they made sure the Ukrainians came over here. You feel me? When white South Africans fucked up in South Africa, white folks make sure they can come in here. So this show you that pan-Europeanism is always already a thing. And then these dudes right here, the FBA dudes, they have to either A, say they believe what the foundational founding fathers believe in, or acknowledge the founding fathers never intended for their Black ass to be a part of the foundation, just like those justices did for a Dred Scott decision when it came to citizenship.
Okay, yeah, we were never intended, and we forced our way for them to acknowledge our citizenship. We forced that issue. We forced them to do that. They didn't do it out of the kindness of our heart, but this is their heart, but this is our country, and we made them do it. You want to bring up NATO? Yeah, countries have other alliances with other countries. NATO is different countries having an alliance with each other. All European countries are not a part of NATO. So kind of that defeats that argument when you get into the geopolitics of it. But yo, if y'all think that was it, I tell you guys, I hope y'all still got some popcorn. I hope y'all do. Y'all needed to get the real big bucket. I should have told you that. But we got more. Because he goes on. That was his first little debate.
You know, we ain't really Black though, right? We been here. We Indigenous Americans. You do know we ain't really Black though, right? We been here. We Indigenous Americans. Sometimes I think like, oh, it used to be the Hebrew Israelites that made my ass itch. Now between the Black Indigenous, you know what I'm saying, and the FBA, it's like, I don't know which one of y'all make my ass itch even more. The niggas that believe that you can't acknowledge that two things can be true at the same time. You can't acknowledge that there are Black Indians. Yes, this is people of African descent. But you saying that we was here first before white people, therefore we're all the real Indians, that's an empirically false claim. It ain't even smart. It ain't even smart. Well, my grandma told me we was Indian. So you think that all people in this country that's Black is really Indian because you read some diary in the 1500 that said that Indians had the same copper skin color? It's just, what are we talking about?
I don't think anybody's, and I can't speak for everybody, but I don't think anybody's making that argument. The argument that is being made, because more research is being done, more logic is being done about slavery. We're not just looking at the Europeans' version of slavery or their version of the events and saying, well, we're going to take that as fact. We're looking at the historical documents. We're looking at certain diaries. We're looking at certain scientific evidence. And we're starting to reach a conclusion that actually makes sense about slavery in this country in general. And what we're leading to, the conclusion that we're reaching, is that there must have been, just logically speaking, there must have been a large presence of black people. Because when people talk about, yeah, there were some black Indians or whatever the case, they make it seem like that was a very small percentage. But logically speaking, there had to have been, in order for slavery to really take off the way it did in America, there had to have been a large population of black people in this land, Negro people in this land prior to Christopher Columbus. That's the only way logically it would even make sense to start a slave trade. I want y'all to think about it. Does it make sense for you, because Christopher Columbus, all the Europeans, this is their first time coming to America. They're not really from America, right? According to them, they discovered it. So they came here, and there was an indigenous population that were not black or Afro-centered or whatever, African descent, whatever you want to call it. They weren't black. They weren't Negro. They were Mongolian. They were from Siberia. They weren't us. You're going to wipe all of them out, and then you're going to go to not your original continent. You're going to go to a whole different continent, and then grab a bunch of people from a different continent, and then force those different people from a different continent to America and enslave people. Does that, like, when you look at it objectively, you will see how that could easily fall apart. You can see how that could easily not be successful. So what makes the most sense is there was probably a lot of black, and I'm saying black as far as the racial category. There was probably black Indians here that were enslaved when the Europeans started coming here. I'm not going to even deny the fact that there were black people from from Africa, from West Africa, that were brought to the Americas. But they even acknowledged that most of the black people were brought to South America. In Brazil and all of these places, and in the Caribbean, they even acknowledged that it was only a very small handful of all of the Africans that were brought here were brought to North America. We're not denying that any Africans were brought to North America, but the only way that that makes logical sense is that if there was already slavery in here and you just bought more people, you wouldn't bring people in. You wouldn't enslave people and bring people and start fresh. You would already kind of have the ball rolling, don't you think? Doesn't that make most sense? That's the only way that would really even work, right? Right? So that's what we're saying. Like, actually, if you actually look at that, okay. And then when you look at some of the documents and all of these European explorers saying, hey, these people got dark skin and woolly hair. Okay. These people look like the people in Africa. Okay. When you look at some of the skeletons that were found in the Americas, they say were no Negroes in America. And you look at several different skeletons, they all like, oh, this was a Negro. This was a Negro. This was a Negro. Well, how did these Negro skeletons get to this land if you guys said that we had no presence here? Okay. Why do the Olmec statues, several, not one or two, but several Olmec statues and other statues and hieroglyphs, why do they look like black folk if we had no presence here whatsoever? Okay. Yeah, that just don't make that much sense. It just doesn't make that much sense. You know, shout out to Tariq, because he makes he had a lot of that history in his American Maroon movie. In the American Maroon movie, they do a whole segment on that, on our indigenous history here. So it's a lot of history in that. Okay. So if you guys really want to get a good deep dive into the information of that, into the history of that, you guys can watch that movie. That movie is jam-packed with information about it. All right.
What are we talking about? I'm a foundational Black American. We are stick to, man, listen, man. Like, if you love hip hop, there's no way for you to be real with yourself.
Hold on, y'all. I got to make it big. Y'all brace yourself. If we love hip hop, man, I'm sure we love hip hop.
I'm a foundational Black American. We gotta stick to, man, listen, man. Like, if you love hip hop, there's no way for you to be real with yourself and not acknowledge the way that Black Caribbeans uniquely contribute in Black American culture without acknowledging the African culture that it retained. Whether you love the drums, whether you love how to flow, there's no way for you to get from this. You see what I'm saying? But somehow,
Lord, give me strength. Give me strength. Oh, Lord. Okay. Here we go with this. And then shout out another thing. Shout out to the Microphone Check movie, because that debunks a whole lot of this stuff. We love hip hop. What's interesting is that we're going to get back to it. What's interesting is that growing up, I always knew that hip hop was Black American. Growing up, we always knew. That was not even a debate. Growing up, we never even had this debate about hip hop being Black American, hip hop being FBA. We all knew that even before the term FBA even existed. We knew it was from us. We knew it wasn't from Jamaica. We knew it wasn't from Puerto Rico or the Latin America. We knew that. The whole thing about hip hop being really Jamaican and hip hop being from Cool Herc or hip hop being from the whatever they call it, because they say hip hop is from everywhere outside of America. That's only a recent thing. That's only a recent argument. This is why in the Microphone Check movie, everybody was sitting up there like, all of the founders of it, all of the original MCs was all like, dude, what are we doing? Why are y'all saying this now? We know this is not the truth. We know this is not the truth. Why are y'all even saying that? You can't acknowledge notice that he doesn't bring up the quote unquote contributions, because those can be debunked. We already had, because music, when we talk about music, music is an art. Art evolves. Art doesn't get created. It's not like an invention. Art is not an invention. It's an evolution of a number of different things, a number of different art forms that exist, a number of or a factor of what's going on in the current environment, a factor of the artist's taste, a factor of what the artist wants to convey. That is art. Art evolves and it changes and it adapts things from other art forms. So you can't talk about hip hop without also talking about funk music. You can't talk about hip hop without also talking about gospel music and blues, all of the instruments that we were using when it comes to gospel music, blues music, house music, all of this stuff. You can't talk about that without also talking about the fact that we had a rich street culture. You can't talk about that without talking about all of the elements and the art forms in this country, in our culture, that were put together and made into hip hop. Okay, that was formed into hip hop. I better said. That's how you look at all music genres. Music, nothing just pops out of nowhere. It gets formed from a number of different things. Hip hop is formed from a number of different things. Jazz music, blues music, gospel music, country music, rock and roll, all of these things, it forms, plus the experience that we have against fighting the police and all of that stuff, our rhythm that we have, because we've been rapping before hip-hop was ever a thing, before there was any hip-hop CD or anything like that. We've always been rhyming. Rapping comes from rhyming. Okay, rhyming on a certain beat. We were doing that. We've been doing that for at least on documented film a good 50, 60 years prior to the quote unquote invention of hip hop. Muhammad Ali, damn it, was doing that. The whole rhyming on a certain beat and stepping to a certain beat. These people don't even have that rhythm culturally. So our cultural rhythm, as far as dancing to a certain beat, rapping to a certain beat, speaking, rhyming to a certain beat, even creating certain rhymes to certain beats and stuff like that. Okay, even some of that, if we're going to be honest, some of that even existed during slavery. When we talk about the songs that we used to sing in the field and all of that stuff, just everybody and all together. It wasn't one person doing it. We were all singing those songs, and I'm not trying to glorify that, but it's the truth. We were all doing that in harmony. We were all doing that together. Okay. The movie Sinners touched on the cultural richness of our music and how it evolves over time to tell a story, to express an emotion. Okay. So all of this stuff comes together and forms hip hop. Were there other people that came after the creation of hip hop that put their little 2 cents in it, that put their little spin in it, Cool Herc and all of that stuff? Okay. We can give credit where credit is due. We don't have a problem with that. But you overstepped your boundaries when you start going into trying to take the credit of creation. Yeah, that's an overstepping. You're overstepping your boundaries at that point because you didn't create hip hop. So don't do that. And this also, poetry. That was another thing that we used to do to express our emotions and to express the reality of the conditions that we were going through. And that also forms into hip hop. And this is another thing when I'm talking about the cultural erasure, because when you try to give people credit for things that they didn't make, give people credit for things that they did not do, that we made, by doing that, you're stripping away the credit that is due to the people who actually did make it. That is erasing their credit, erasing their contribution. So this is exactly what we talk about when we discuss cultural erasure.
Foundational Black Americans and shit, the goddamn Black Indians that believe that we're all from Turtle Island. Y'all want to, like, what did y'all learn about African shit that made it where y'all have such a demise and such a, you feel me, oppositional, you know what I'm saying, adversarial relationship to it? That's what I want to know. Like,
no, it's not. No, Lord, it's not a demise. We don't have a demise or even an adversarial relationship to Africa. We are just acknowledging that we are different. We are just acknowledging a delineation, which is by default what we are already experienced. We can't, I want y'all to understand something. Even if we wanted to, we can't undelineate. Do you know that? Do you know that? Can we understand? Can we acknowledge that? There's no undelineating. We can't undelineate. We've been delineated. We've been forced to when we were stripped from what we had before and made to create something new. Ethnogenesis is by definition a birth of delineation. We are delineated regardless of whether we want to be or not. The fact that we are acknowledging our delineation doesn't have anything to do with hate. It doesn't have anything to do with a political ideology or even a movement. If you believe in reparations, you're FBA. If you don't, you're FBA. As long as you are a part of the lineage. It's not about ideology or a political stance or whatever. It's about the lineage. Because you are from a lineage that is been delineated. Okay? It's either true or not true. You're either a part of this lineage or you're not.
you know, and then I'm talking about sound. They sound just like the white folks. They're literally, I can tell a lot of people in FBA, y'all watch Fox News. Y'all watch Fox News. Y'all watch Charlie Kirk. Y'all watch them. I know y'all watch them because y'all think being able to put their arguments in blackface make them clever. You think that if you take a white supremacist speaking points about the great replacement theory and immigrants and shit like that, it sounds clever all of a sudden.
Okay. Do we not call Charlie Kirk out? I don't know how many times I know I'm talking about me personally, called out Charlie Kirk. We call out Charlie Kirk. We call out Ben Shapiro. We call out Megyn Kelly. We call out Steven Crowder. We call out Matt Walsh. Name them. We call out Tucker Carlson. Name them. We've been on these people bumper. Okay? Name them. They don't want to see us. We've been called these folk out. So no, I could tell y'all listening. No, just because we don't regurgitate the damn talking points from the DNC doesn't mean that we're sitting up there looking at the Republicans and ass kissing the Republicans. No, it doesn't. There are some people, he might not understand this concept, but there are some people who have independent minds and who are not controlled by either the DNC master or the GOP master. He brings somebody on to have a debate. He brings an FBA brother up. FBA brother calls up to his show to have a debate. Let me see. Pull this up real quick. And this is what they get into when they get into it.
It's not being
I had
real.
to skip ahead a little bit because this is a little long, but it is what it is.
It'd be more likely for me to go to a Republican party and see a Ku Klux Klaner there than me going to a Democratic. And be clear, fuck Democrats and Republicans. Easy. Like, make arguments.
I'm just trying to make sure we're on the same page, bro. Because
Okay.
I want to make
You saying that you saying, remember, okay, just keep in mind, he said, screw Democrats and Republicans. Remember, he said that. Just remember he said that. Forget them both. Democrats and Republicans. Well, I think that's very interesting because that's not the page you be on. Conscious. That's not the page he be on. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up real quick. Let me see. Hold on. Let me pull this up. I want to pull this up. There was a thing. He's been caping for the Republicans. I mean, for the DNC for the longest time. As I'm pulling it up, I'm gonna let y'all
make sure I anything I just we on the same page though, because right now you're being dishonest, bro.
all right, you said though, you said that FBA, we align ourselves with white supremacy.
Yes.
Charlie Kirk, whatever it may be.
Yes. Yes. Do you have a response that says that the FBA did not align themselves in 2024 with Trump 2024? That's the argument I'm making. I want to be clear on that. That the argument I'm making is that the FBA aligned themselves with Donald Trump via fuck the immigrants. And I'm saying that y'all care about hating immigrants more than you loving your own people. I want to be clear on this. I'm making the claim that the FBA in the election of 2024 overwhelmingly aligned themselves with the same party that the KKK did.
No.
That's the argument I'm making.
Now, let me pause it. I want to pause it. Let me pause it. I found it. I found what I was looking for. Now he says screw Democrats and Republicans. And that's the page I'm on. So can I ask y'all this question? Consciously, what is this? You said screw the Democrats and the Republicans. Is this not who I think it is? Is this not Jasmine Crockett? Consciously? Oh, so you want to claim about being nonpartisan? I thought you said you was nonpartisan. I thought you don't believe in that. Okay. So this is the nonpartisan consciously. Okay. I just want y'all to understand. He doesn't believe in the Democratic Party whatsoever. He just happened to see Jasmine Crockett and not know that Jasmine Crockett is a part of the DNC. He just happened to see her and just took a picture. Actually, he didn't even ask for the picture. He was just looking in the same direction and bumped into her, and it just looks like a picture. This is photoshopped, It's photoshopped. It's not even him. I don't know why he put it on his Twitter page though, but it's photoshopped. Let him tell it. Okay, he said, screw the Democrats and the Republicans. Oh, is that Jasmine Crockett? Come on, let's take a picture. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Seems like a DNC shill, if you ask me. All right. Let's get back to the nonpartisan consciously.
That's not true. The data doesn't support that, bro.
Show me the data. Show me the data disproves it.
Black Americans, if I'm not mistaken, 92%.
No. The fact, no. Your organization is FBA. I'm a foundational Black American. I don't bang FBA. No, I'm talking about people. I'm talking about people that have on their Twitter FBA with the American flag. I'm not talking about you trying to claim the entirety of Black Americans being FBA because you know that's not true. That's you're being dishonest, bro. I'm talking about FBA. Hey, fam. Everybody don't identify with FBA, bro. You said what?
Now, here's the thing. He says that we align ourselves, FBA aligns ourselves with Trump. Now, he claims that he's FBA. So for the sake of the argument, I'm not even going to say he's not. I'm going to take him for his word for the sake of the argument and say that. You're FBA regardless of your political stance. You do understand that. Because regardless of us liking you or disliking you, you're FBA. Al Sharpton is FBA. Jesse Jackson is FBA. Regardless of us liking them or not. So is Oprah. So is Gail. So is all of these other people. They're FBA because it's a lineage. Now, when you say organization, actually, let's look at the definition of an organization. I was able to pull it up. So let's look at the definition together. It says an organization, pretty much, this is a organization or organization. They pretty much spell differently. One with a Z and one with an S, is an entity such as a company or corporation or an institution or an association comprising one or more people and having a particular purpose. Organizations may also operate secretly or illegally in the case of secret societies, criminal organizations, and resistance movements. Okay. So a particular purpose. Okay. So let me ask you. That would mean that in order to be FBA, you have to believe in what we believe. So in order for you to be a part of an organization, there are qualifications. You have to believe in a particular purpose. You have to be joining for a purpose. It's something you join for a purpose. But FBA, by definition of what a lineage is, couldn't be an organization because it's not something you can join or not join. It's not something that you become or not become. You are either born a foundational Black American or you're not. You're born a foundational Black American or you're not. It's not something you can join. It's not about a political ideology. It's not about a social stance. It's not about none of that. You're born FBA or you're not. That's just what it is. By the definition of what an organization is.
It's not an organization.
All right.
What's the difference between Black American and foundational Black American? What's the difference? You put one.
I'm a Black American that was born and raised here in America that got this right here. I'm telling you right now, I do not agree with none of the ideology of the group known as FBA. If you got FBA, those acronyms in your goddamn bio, I do not identify with that shit. As a matter of fact, I know every nigga where I'm born and raised in Bryan, Texas, do not identify with your political ideology of FBA. So I want to be clear, people watching this. Right now, he's trying to be dishonest and claim the entirety of the 92% that voted against Donald Trump and being like, that's FBA. That's not FBA, bro. I'm talking about FBA. About your organization, your group.
See, no, that.
Okay. How many of you guys, I want a show of hands. How many of you all were at the last reparations rally or any? I'm going to say any. How many of you all were at any of the reparations rallies that we had in 2022 and 2024. Either one of the reparations rallies. Or you know what? I'm gonna add a little extra, and I'm gonna say also the FBA Expo in Texas. How many of you all were there? Can I see some hands? Because I want to ask a question. All right. You say, Jay, you said you were there at 2022. Okay. There's some people who are saying that they were there. So they were how many of y'all? How many of y'all? I'm waiting on some hands. Okay, and I'm seeing some hands. You all were there. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Did you guys see? I'm asking because I don't know, but did you guys see that? Wish I was. Oh, okay. Yeah, you were there. Asking for hands, y'all. Some people saying that they were there. A lot of people saying that they were there. Okay, you were at the one in Dallas. You were at the one. When y'all were there, did you guys see Trump 2024? Did you guys see that? Did you guys see Trump 2024 there? Were we talking about Trump and voting for Trump? Were we doing that? Or were most of us talking about voting for the couch? Most of us were talking about voting for the couch. Most foundational Black Americans who were at these places with signs and we were sitting up there rallying, we were not rallying on behalf of Donald Trump. We were actually talking about going and voting for the couch or sitting on the couch. Remember? You didn't see a whole bunch of Trump merchandise and all of that. You didn't see that. You saw people talking about, hey, I'm sitting on the couch. Now, let me ask y'all another question. How many of you all through this last presidential election, I need you guys to represent how many of you all stayed on the couch this last election? How many of us voted for the couch this last election? If you voted for the couch this last election, put the couch emoji in the chat room. I need to do a survey real quick because I know I did. I know I voted for the couch. I need to know how many of us, my brothers and sisters, how many of y'all voted for the couch? I'm seeing a lot of couches. Yes, a lot of couches coming up. A lot of us voted for the couch. Some people saying you voted for Jill Stein. Okay. So where is all of this? We're aligned with Trump. It's a whole bunch of y'all talking about we voted for the couch. Trump ain't the couch. Trump wanted people to vote for him. We voted for the couch. Where are we aligned with Trump when we voted for the couch? Can somebody please explain that to me? Oh, just because of the fact that we didn't vote for his sister girl Kamala, because we didn't follow the DNC shill, and we didn't vote for everybody's favorite Hindu Indian, notorious Hindu Indian, voted the worst vice president of all time, means that we aligned ourselves with Donald Trump. No, we voted for the couch, and the couch won that election. And I'm not letting anybody say anything different. Y'all aligning yourselves with Republican rhetoric. No, we said the couch. We said we have a specific demand. You not doing it, so we staying on the couch. And that's what happened.
That's the thing. Y'all trying to make it seem like FBA is some organization. It's not. It's a lineage. Like you don't have to apply. It's a lineage. You don't have to apply for FBA. Like it's not some. You don't get a membership for it. You either are or you're not. You're either a descendant of slaves from America or you're not.
Cap, bro.
This idea that
you're not being real, bro.
But that's exactly what it is. Like, what's the difference between FBA and ADOS?
You tell me. It's different fractions. It's hold on. Come back. The FBA is a friend. The people of the FBA left ADOS for disagreements.
It's still the same thing. It's all lineage based.
So you're being dishonest, bro. Right now, you're being dishonest. Right now, you hoping that I don't have enough information on this to be able to call you out on bullshit. What I know, the two fringe groups that refer to themselves as ADOS and FBA, y'all have public disagreements. I'm both. I am both a African descendant of slaves here in America. I'm also a foundational Black American. I don't subscribe to either of your politics. So
let me clear this up about the whole FBA and ADOS thing. Let me clear that up. There wasn't no leaving ADOS, it's not like there was no mass exodus because we had different political issues, and that's not what happened. And I was there during the whole issue between FBA and ADOS. I was there, okay, going back and forth. I told y'all my story about me going back and forth with Yvette and all that stuff. I've been said that. What happened is that what we thought was a movement about culture, because at the time, a lot of people had a lot of respect for Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, okay, who were the people who coined the term ADOS, okay? There was already a growing movement of lineage, and then they came out with the term ADOS, and we were all like, okay, using terms that kind of specify us helps the movement, helps the movement of a lineage. Okay, cool, that's great. So we were using that in a way to identify the entire lineage. What Yvette Carnell and Tone did, it says, no, it's not really about a lineage. ADOS is a political movement. And then we was like, well, no, it's not. It shouldn't be a political movement. Yeah, we do have political interests, but the term should just be about the lineage. And then individuals can do their own political thing, but the term shouldn't be about a political movement. She said, no, it's about a political movement. So that's why a lot of people who was all like, okay, well, if it's about a political movement, then I'm a step back. Now, there are some people who still use the term ADOS, and I'm not sitting up here trying to go down that rabbit hole about it, but that's what happened. There wasn't no difference in political ideology. There were some people who were all like, okay, well, we want a term about a lineage, not a political organization or political movement. So that's the difference, all right?
So I'm making a distinction between my identity and my ideology. Right now, I'm saying the FBA is a particular ideology. Those black women that voted for Kamala Harris would not identify with your ideology. So let's be real. You feel me? Let's be real, bro. Let's be real.
You don't have to subscribe to something to still be a part of something, though. Like, you don't have to.
So am I considered FBA? Nigel, am I FBA?
Yes. Yes.
Even though I'm disagreeing with you every day. So I'm FBA, even though I'm telling you I'm not.
That's the thing. You are FBA. Even though you don't agree with majority of the ideology that the FBA is pushing, you're still an FBA.
But you are acknowledging that.
Now, let me, because what he said is very important. What he said is very important. Okay. He asks, am I FBA? Now, for the sake of the argument, we're going to say that consciously is FBA. He's just a Democrat shield, but he's FBA still. And he asks, oh, am I FBA even if I disagree? And then the brother was all like, yeah, you're still FBA. Even though you disagree, you're still FBA. So right then and there, that proves that FBA is not an organization, because you can't openly disagree with the organization and go against the movement in the direction of an organization and still be a part. So by him saying, yeah, you're FBA, even if you disagree, that therefore proves that FBA is not an organization or a political movement or a group or anything. Now, do most people who identify as FBA, who use the term FBA, do we have similar thought patterns as far as policy and politics go? Yeah. But let's be honest, most black people up until recently have always had somewhat similar thought patterns as far as policy. We've always done that. That don't make us an organization. That's why most black people who voted for Obama, they had a similar political ideology back then. And now you're starting to see a cultural shift and a change. But that doesn't make us an organization, because there were some people in the chat room who voted for the couch. There were some people in the chat room who voted for Jill Stein. There were some people who voted for Cornel West. There were some people who voted for Donald Trump. They're still all FBA. You vote for Kamala Harris, you're still FBA. And by him saying, yeah, you're FBA, regardless of what you think or what you agree with, that just disproves the whole point. Argument should be over. But look at how Conscious tries to come back at that. I'm going to take it back a couple seconds.
So am I considered FBA? Nigel, am I FBA?
Yes. Yes.
Even though I'm disagreeing with you every day. So I'm FBA, even though I'm telling you I'm not.
That's the thing. You are FBA. Even though you don't agree with majority of the ideology that the FBA is pushing, you're still an FBA.
But you are acknowledging that there's an ideology that FBA pushes, correct?
But every group has an ideology. So would you not consider would you not consider the KKK as a part of the white structure, and they have their own separate ideology, even though it doesn't represent all white people?
Hey, this I know you're being dishonest. The KKK does not allow for any white person to be on there, especially disagree with their ideology. The KKK is not going to let Rainbow Coalition join a movement just because they're white. You have to agree with the ideology to make it into the group. Like this, you're being so not real, bro. It's almost making I don't want to have a conversation. Well, you're not being real.
No, that's what I was trying to get you to understand. That FBA is not a group. FBA is not a group.
It's an ideology, my boy. You agreeing with me. You said conscious. Even though you don't agree with the ideology, you still love the lineage. You're making the distinction between the ideology and the lineage. I'm making an indictment towards the lineage and say that you niggas ideologically care more about saying fuck black immigrants more than you love black Americans. A simple argument.
Okay, no, that's not the argument you were making. Notice how he's trying to now change the argument he was making. He's now trying to change the argument he was making. The argument he was making was that FBA is an organization. That's what he first said. FBA is an organization, not FBA people have an ideology. FBA people don't have. There are people who speak among themselves who do have a similar ideology. Everybody in this chat room doesn't have the same ideology. Politically or even culturally, we don't have the same ideology, even though most of us here are a part of the same lineage. Most lineages of people have similar ideology, okay? That doesn't make them an organization. Most white people have a similar ideology. That doesn't make white an organization. Most people from a certain nation have a certain ideology. That doesn't make them an organization. You can't say because a lot of people have a similar ideology makes them an organization. Okay, we have a lineage. Most lineages have similar ideologies. All right, that's like young people. Most young people tend to have a similar ideology, tend to have a similar thought process. But is being young an organization? No, it's not an organization, even though most young people kind of have similar thought processes when they're like, 15, 16 years old. That don't make them an organization. Having similar ideologies politically or culturally doesn't make you an organization. So he just really defeated his own point. He doesn't want to acknowledge it, but he really did.
There's one time in this conversation.
Fam, this whole entire live stream is about immigration. Matter of fact, your last speech.
You understand that immigration is not just black immigrants, right? You understand that it's not black immigrants. There's more than just black immigrants, right?
I'm talking about, I'm centering this conversation, black immigrants, the black experience. That's what I want to be clear on that. I'm centering, I'm not talking about Ukrainians. I'm not talking about Israelis.
Why not? Because those are immigrants, bro, and it affects.
I'm talking about black people, bro. And I'm acknowledging this too. White people treat white immigrants a lot different than they treat the black ones. As a matter of fact, right now, while Donald Trump is trying to say that all immigrants are bad, he's openly allowing for white South African immigrants to come into America. So even it needs to be acknowledging that white people that's born and raised in America still view the kinship of other Europeans throughout the world. So y'all FBA dudes want to play games. Meanwhile, we're getting slaughtered throughout the world. Throughout the world.
So again, bro, I think you just kind of summarized everything, right? You are FBA, whether you identify with it or not. There's 50,
just like the white man. Whether you want to be it or not, your name is Kunta.
Bro, either you're from the lineage or you're not. Like, we're not making it.
Now he's getting into the trolling. Now, notice when folks start losing an argument, then they get into a whole bunch of trolling and stuff like that. Look, either you're a part of the lineage or not. What now he's starting to joke and make different. Oh, you just like the white man. No, what are you talking about?
We're getting slaughtered throughout the world. Throughout the world.
So again, bro, I think you just kind of summarized everything, right? You are FBA, whether you identify with it or not. There's 50,
just like the white man. Whether you want to be it or not, your name is Kunta.
Bro, either you're from the lineage or you're not. Like, we're not making exceptions here.
Man, listen,
even though
man.
me and you don't agree, we don't.
My name is not Toby, bro. My name not Toby, man. My name is not Toby. In this instance, is Kunta Kinte, and you trying to tell me what my name is, bro? You acting just like a white man. I'm telling you, I don't fuck with your identity or your ideology, and you telling me this. Even if you like, no, nigga, no. Listen, bro. I was born before the ideology of FBA came. So my existence, my perspective, my understanding of being black, it predates your whole ideology of FBA. This FBA shit is some new shit. You see what I'm saying? It's some new shit. It's some shit that's FBA ideology is younger than Twitter.
Bro, do you understand that FBA, all it essentially is doing, you understand what it's doing, right? The whole concept of FBA.
I'm sure that you're going to tell me some like some reconfigurated narrative that tries to claim that the FBA goes back to the slave boat or something, but it's like I disagree. The whole point of us having this debate right now is for me to outline the various ways we disagree. Like, I don't think you really care about niggas being deported. You care more about immigrants being deported. You feel me? You still have not said nothing about niggas being deported. Donald Trump said he gonna start with the enemy within. He gonna start deporting homegrown criminals. You don't care about that. You care. What about the other immigrants?
Is that only only black Americans be affected by that, or would every criminal in the system be affected by that?
Are you all out? Like, I'm talking about black people, bro. Like, why do you have to bring up everybody? I'm talking about black people, bro. You say you don't care about black people. Right now, I'm talking about black Americans. Why do I have to extrapolate?
I'm saying you're making arguments as if it will only directly impact the black community.
I'm making arguments to say that it will especially impact the black community based off of how criminality is mapped onto our bodies. Well, that black people are 3 to 5 times more likely to find themselves convicted of a crime. So if Donald Trump says he's going to start next with the homegrown criminals, yes, nigga, I'm saying that we are going to be disproportionately impacted by being criminal and therefore being deported. It's just a straight line of logic.
Okay. All right now. I know y'all fuming. I know you're fuming. I know you are, but let's tone it down. Okay. No. All of that. First off, he lost the whole thing. And notice when he lost, he made a little joke and he didn't retouch on the FBA being a group or organization. Because he thought he was really gonna, he really thought he was gonna be hitting on something when he was all like, am I FBA? And then when the brother's like, yeah, I mean, it's not about agreeing or disagreeing. You either a part of the lineage or you're not. There's nothing I can say about it. Like he said, we're not making exceptions. There's not no your FBA if you pass this test. There's no test. There's no exceptions. There's no I want to, I don't want to. There's none of that. You don't gotta like us. You don't gotta like what we're doing. You're gonna have to agree with reparation. You don't have to do none of that. Either you're a part of the lineage or you're not. It's just cut and dry. It's just simple. And he lost. Now then he tried to go back to the whole, well, y'all don't worry about the black immigrants and deportation. First off, most of the deportation isn't happening to the black immigrants, mostly the Hispanic ones, but the ones that are happening to are illegal here. Illegal, not supposed to be here. Okay, so they need to go. All right. All illegal immigration, he's trying to get us to worry about illegal immigration without telling us how. Okay. If worrying about illegal immigration is a big deal and we should all worry about illegal immigration, fine. Can you express to us how immigration is beneficial? Can you express to us and convey, can you walk us through how we're benefiting from all of this immigration that you keep fighting for? You are stressing and making the argument that we need to be on the front lines for immigration. Okay, cool. Can you ignite how is that? How are we benefiting from immigration though? Notice he doesn't make that point. He doesn't make that point at all. But yet That's something that we need to be fighting for. We need to be worried about. He's trying to form it in a way, oh, y'all know deportation. If we're going to be the ones criminals, if we're going to be the ones who are disproportionately locked up, then that means that deportation is going to hit us. No, it ain't. No, it's not. And it never has. Y'all been saying that for the last 6 months. Y'all been saying that for the last 6 months, and it still ain't hit. It's not hitting, y'all. It's not working. Let me come on, because we still got. Where is it? Then he brings up us in this quote unquote diaspora war. Here we go. The whole thing with the diaspora war. He brings this up.
The whole reason why the movement is pushing the way it is because at one point we thought we had some type of coalition between everybody in the diaspora. But as we start to have these conversations and we realizing that most of them don't even really know the history of America as far as what our people been through and what we've been subjected to and how the fight that we fought even allowed them to get to where they're at now as far as coming to America. And then when they get here, they go against our best interests. So for instance, the Black Caucus, 44 out of 56 of them are non-FBA. Now you tell me if Black Americans can go move to an African country, right? Let's say we move to Nigeria, Ghana, whatever. And then we somehow take over their whole like establishment, they would never allow that to happen. But we've somehow, in this coalition that we created, have allowed people to come to our country and get in positions to where they can strike down things that could benefit Black Americans. And their whole argument is, well, for instance, Byron Daniels, he's a Republican. He went on live TV and said, well, my father is from Jamaica and my mother is from like Barbados, and I'm not for reparations because I wasn't a descendant of slaves. So we have a major problem going on, Conscious. And I think you should be fighting for this too. Like you should be fighting for this.
Fam. I think it's, bro, you gotta have nuance, bro. You gotta have nuance, bro. Within the Black community, it's suckers, it's sellouts, it's Uncle Toms, it's coons. You acknowledging to me that within the international community, it's sellouts, it's suckers, and it's coons. That's not to me a way I'm gonna view that whole community, bro. I know it's suckers within the Black community. I know that it's Black people within this community and our community. It don't mean no good for us. You feel me? It don't mean no good for everywhere else. I ain't gonna say because it's a couple of us here, they don't mean they don't give a damn. To me, it's like that's what I'm trying to get you to think about, bro. It's thinking about how can we generalize an entire group because some motherfuckers in there don't agree with us. I've met more Caribbean people that fuck with the diaspora Black people than I have that don't. You feel me?
And okay, and this isn't to say that what he's saying is true or not true. What he's met, who he's met, whatever. Okay. But the thing is, and what we're not doing is we're not labeling every single person from the diaspora with that. And on this channel, I consistently say we're not here to paint this big broad brush, paint them all with this big broad brush. We're not here to do that. We're not here to say we're going to put them all together. 100% of them are like that. We're intelligent enough to know 100% of them are not like that. We are. We're also intelligent to understand patterns. We are also intelligent enough for that. We're intelligent enough to understand that you all coming over here is not a benefit, because he made the argument that no, it's not a benefit, as in a matter of fact, it hurts more than it helps. It hurts more often than it helps. For you to say, okay, well, you can't label everybody with one broad brush, that doesn't refute the point that it hurts more often than it helps. Because now I need you to make the claim, if you really want to counter Conscious, you need to make the claim that immigration benefits us more than it hurts. Because we can easily make the claim of how damaging it is and how detrimental it is, but y'all have a very hard time making a claim of how beneficial it is. It's not about painting them all with one broad brush, but can you make the claim that having more of them over here is going to be some type of benefit to us? No, and he's not doing that.
And then even this, what they do don't dictate my principles, bro. Don't dictate my humanity. You see what I'm saying?
Of course,
I know that we can get, listen, when niggas don't get reparations, it's not because some non-Black Americans disagree with us. The same way when an immigrant, quote unquote, steals a Black person's job, quote unquote, steals, That's not what's happening. Language is important. This person was given something, they received it. You're using the language and rhetoric of taking when it was something that was received. Hey, in America right now, that we feel like there are a lot of Mexican, Latino people taking over jobs, right? Why do we have more beef for the person that took the job than the person that gave it to them? In this instance, when it comes to reparations. So we got more people that got beef with other non-Black Americans that say we don't want it than you actually do people that give it to them. Them non-Black Americans ain't codified no law. And being real with you, bro, I rock with the CDC in different ways, but ain't no nigga I ever been to start telling me about how the CDC did something for them or didn't do something for them, or CDC and it made it what they was doing something. Like it didn't do that. Hey, let me see real fast. Hey, Barry Grizzle, you next on the chat and get that ass whooped. You next on the chat, Barry Grizzle. Don't talk about it, be about it, Barry. Come, you next, Barry. You next. Come on with it now. You know what I'm saying? Nigel cool. I'm in the mood to bust some ass today. So come on with it, buddy. Come on.
Okay. And that's the end of that. Our tethers, because he called them they're tethers. If you're non-FBA and you're preventing our progress, if you're being an impediment to our progress, then yeah, that's being a tether. If you're doing something that undermines our progress, then that's being a tether, because that's an action that you're doing. And by you being non-FBA, doing that action makes you a tether. Okay, so let's be clear. And we're not saying all, but we're saying the people who do that specific action makes them a tether. Just like you wouldn't call all people Uncle Toms, there's an action that they have to do to be considered an Uncle Tom or Sambo or this or that, right? There has to be an action that they do to be considered a tether. Same principle. Okay. Are we saying that we are not having reparations because there are some tethers that don't want us to have reparations? No. Okay. That's an oversimplification of the issue of what we're saying. What we are saying, though, is that we do have tethers that come in and they undermine the progress of us getting reparations, and that needs to be acknowledged. He says, well, why are we more mad at the tethers than we are at the other people who are denying us reparations? Who said that? Who said we're more mad at them? Who said that? You sitting up there trying to demonize us. We're the ones, asked Kamala Harris. We're the ones who voted for the couch because she said no to reparations. We've been on Biden his entire term for him denying Black people resources and policy. We've been on Biden's bumper the whole time. So we get on their bumper about them not putting forth legislation for our lineage. So we're not ducking the smoke from nobody, but we're also acknowledging the fact that tethers are weaponized against our lineage. Which is why you have a Brian Donalds, which is why you have a Kamala Harris, which is why you have a Obama, which is why you have these people here. Okay, a Karine Jean-Pierre who claims not to be claims not to be Democrat no more. We are on their bumper because tethers are weaponized against our lineage. And we've been wondering, damn, it seems like every time we make a little bit of progress, somebody keeps coming and they keep derailing the progress that we're making. What's going on? And we've been wondering who keeps coming and derailing the progress. And now we're starting to see, oh, you guys are the dominant society and they're the big villain, but you guys are using tethers as a weapon against us. Okay, now we see the play. So now that we see the play, we're calling it out. Now we're seeing the play. Now we're all like, okay, you guys are using tethers and you guys are giving them big platforms and all of this stuff. So now we got to call that stuff out. Now these tethers, when we do a background check, they don't have influence like that. Okay. And tethers, we have to understand, tethers are used on both political sides. So you got tethers like Karine Jean-Pierre on the Democrat side, and you got tethers who are on the DNC and all of that stuff who talk about DNC talking points and stuff like that. You have tethers on the DNC, like Kamala, like Obama, and all of that. You have tethers on the DNC. You also have tethers on the GOP. You got tethers like Brian Donalds and all of that. You even got tethers who speak GOP rhetoric and stuff. You got the Myron Gaines and stuff like that. So on both sides of the aisle, you have tethers. Okay. But the tethers, both the DNC and the GOP, utilizes the tethers against FBA. And we got to call that out. It's important for us. We're going to skip over them, ignore them? No. We've been doing that. And by doing that, we're allowing them to, first off, take our culture, replace us, push us out, and then they speak on our behalf as representatives. Okay? That's why when we have a whole panel of reparations, we've been seeing reparations panels all over the place, and we'll have a non-FBA person be all like, well, you know what? I'm from Jamaica, and I don't agree with reparations. We get the Candace Owenses and all of that stuff, who, remember, Candace Owens said she doesn't mind making stories that demonizes and vilifies FBA, but she deliberately avoids doing that when it comes to Caribbeans. Remember she said that? Do y'all know? Do y'all know Candace Owens admitted that she avoids making stories that makes Caribbean people look bad, but has absolutely no problem with having stories and putting forth stories that make FBA look bad. And she's got platforms, the Ben Shapiro's and all of that, the Pure University. They'll give her big platforms to do that. So they're weaponizing her hatred for FBA against us. And they'd be all like, hold on, she's a black woman. She's black. You can't say it's racist because she's black there. Now, it's just accountability. You guys just don't want to hear it because it's accountability. It's not racist. How is she racist? No. So now we're starting to see, oh, no wonder you spewing all of this stuff. You're non-FBA. And you wouldn't do that when it comes to Caribbean people. You're non-FBA. So you're going to abide by the sabotage, or you're going to participate, rather, in the sabotage of FBA. That's what she does, and she's admitted it. So we're not supposed to call it out. They at this point, they damn near admitting it, and we're not supposed to call that out. And it makes us, we're quote unquote, according to Conscious Lee, we're spewing MAGA rhetoric. This is MAGA rhetoric that we're spewing. No. It's either the truth or it's not. It's either the truth or it's not. It's not no MAGA rhetoric. We're calling this out, and we're making a lot of progress by doing it. And I don't want us to stop. We're making a lot of progress by doing it. Because in order for a movement to progress, you have to filter. And when we say a movement, this is separate from FBA, because FBA is a lineage. But we've had a movement that's existed before the term FBA, and that will continue to exist. Because even if all of us stop saying FBA, the movement still goes on. The movement never dies. It might speed up, it slows down, it evolves, but it doesn't die. The revolution doesn't die. All right. So when we talk about the movement, we're not talking about, we say the FBA movement because it's a movement fueled by FBA and we're the leaders of it, but it's not about, FBA is not a movement, it's a lineage. It's different, all right? But even if we were to stop using FBA, the movement would still continue. It would still continue. All right. So it's not an organization or whatever it's not an organization, not a group, not a cult, none of that. But we have to call out the people who are in here messing it up. In any movement that we have, you have to constantly be vigilant of people who are sent in to sabotage the movement. just like the Black Panther Party. They had the William O'Neills in the Black Panther Party. You have people on the slave plantation who are snitches, they would sit there in the groups of people and they would help map out the escape route and all of that stuff. They would help map that stuff out. They would say, okay, in the middle of the night when Massa goes to bed, okay, we're going to sneak around the back because there's no windows around the back. And then we're going to make a run for it. We're going to run in the forest. Okay. And then we're going to split up. And then we're going to link back up over here. We're going to link up over here. And the whole time they were the snitch. After they made the whole plan about where we're going to link up, where we're going to move to, then they would, in the early morning, and they would say, hey, Massa, they're all going to be right here, Massa. They're all going to be right there. Okay. They think I'm working for them, but I'm not. We've had that. And when they get caught and they get beat and they get whipped and they get buck broken for trying to run away, they keep thinking, okay, how does this slave master keep catching us? How does this slave master keep finding out where we're going to be? You got to look, there's somebody who's ratting us out. Somebody is ratting us out. You got to call out the rats. A movement can't live if there's rats in the movement. Okay? If there's rats, if there's agents in the movement is never going to flourish. It's never going to succeed. It's never going to advance. You have to get rid of them in order for prosperity to happen. All right? Let me get to the super chats real fast. Okay. Shout out to my brother Chris. Chris says, this is Chris with a K. It might be a sister, but Chris family, appreciate you, says Afro. Temple University may become the first U.S. school to launch lineage-based reparations for FBAs. Okay, I'm gonna look into that. VP of Employee Relations already looped in legal plus DEI. We must, all caps, must chat ASAP. This is historic. Okay, all right. That sounds interesting. Yeah, we definitely gonna talk about that. We definitely can talk about that. If you don't have, you can send me an email. The email is in the description. But that's interesting. Okay, I want to learn more about that. Chosen says, we are seeing that white people are not our only problem. Keyword only. We're acknowledging they're not the only problem. Their success wouldn't be able to be this potent if it was only them. They have to use minions, tether minions against us. And we have to acknowledge that. Okay. Shout out to Andre the Prince. He says Lee is saying a bunch of nothing. He is. But he's just saying it with such conviction. Oh, I'm Monster Lee. He's saying it with such conviction, like he's telling the truth, like he's speaking facts that he's not. I'm not liking the video. That's an interesting name. He's not liking the video. I hope he does like it, though. It says the agricultural proves we're indigenous. That's true. That's true. It does prove that. You wouldn't, even if we talk about when you understand world history, you wouldn't bring people even to another state, because even different states have different temperatures and different soils and different lands. Imagine bringing a farmer from a different state. Now, imagine bringing a farmer from an entire different continent, a whole different continent, and told them, you guys will be the people cultivating the agriculture of this brand new continent that when we don't know how to do it. It's not like Europeans taught us how to do it because they didn't know how to do it. So how did we know how to do it if we were not from this continent? If we never experienced this continent before, how did we know how to how do we know the agricultural land so well? Even better than the Europeans who they claim were here before we were here. And we weren't from this, not from this whole different continent on the other side of the hemisphere. Okay. The weather is different. The temperature is different. The soil is different. But we knew how to plant agriculture and vegetables and fruit and till the land. Wow. That's amazing for people who've never been to this land before, don't you think? That's a little interesting. It's a little odd. Actually, it's less than interesting. It's odd. It's amazing. It's almost like unreal if you really think about it. Almost doesn't make sense if you think about it. It almost really doesn't make any sense. And that's because we were here before. Okay? We were here before. That's the only way that could be true. It's the only way. But y'all, our delineation, our cultural movement, our political sophistication, it's triggering them. The DNC is trying to send their best and they getting beat. They getting beat down. Now, if consciously sees this and consciously wants to have a debate, tell him I'm game. Because he be saying FBA be ducking the smoke from Monster Lily. FBA be ducking the smoke. I'm not here to duck no smoke. I'm not here to duck no smoke, conscious. If you want problems, you can find them. You want problems, you can find them, conscious. I'm here. Letting that be known now. Who you think ducking smoke? Not me. But to be honest, you didn't even win that well in your own debate. You really didn't. You didn't win that well. Shout out to the Cash App from, let me see who this is from. I want to give a shout out to the Cash App from S. Slee. Shout out to Slee for the Cash App. Appreciate you. All right. Brothers and sisters, we doing what we doing. There's people coming to demonize us. There's people coming to vilify us. They say we're Trump supporters. They say we align with Trump. Oh, they say we're xenophobic. If we don't follow their agenda in going back to Africa, then we're xenophobic. If we don't follow their agenda, then we're xenophobic. They're coming over here like that Haitian lady. They're coming over here. They're trying to say that they're the real Black Americans and all of that. That's not divisive or xenophobic or anything like that. That's not divisive or xenophobic, because only we can be divisive and xenophobic. I just want you to understand that if you thought that they could, they can't. Only we can, according to them. Then they got people coming up here saying that we need to fight for immigrants. We need to fight on behalf of illegal immigrants and their fight against deportation of a country they're not supposed to be in. No, we good. All that going back Africa stuff, we're good. All that fighting for immigrant stuff, we're good. We're good. We're making progress doing what we're doing now, and we're going to continue to do that. That's what we're going to do. Yeah, we've been on here for a good minute. We had a lot to discuss. We had a lot to break down, family. We had a lot to break down. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on my social media pages if you guys have not done so already, just to make sure that you guys get an extra notification every time we go live. Also, hit that thumbs up button. Hit that thumbs up button. Press that like button, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hit the notification bell. All right. Make sure you guys don't miss out on anything, because we still got some stuff coming out for you all. Family, I appreciate y'all time. At this point in time, y'all can finish y'all popcorn. I know y'all got a big bucket of popcorn. Y'all can finish y'all popcorn. It's good. Y'all can finish it off. I appreciate y'all time. I appreciate y'all support. Shout out to everybody at the Cash Apps. Appreciate y'all. Thank you all so much for watching. And y'all stay blessed, family.